I think I fixed it. Hello. Please tell me it works. Oh my gosh, I freaking made it work. Okay. Hey y'all, I'm so sorry about that. You know me and technology don't mix. It was on some weird thing. Anyways, I fixed it. So let's fix this too. Make sure it's good. All right, we're good. Somebody's calling me, but they're gonna have to wait. Oh, it's the guy who's getting married for the wedding beer that we're doing. I'm gonna tell him I'm streaming right now and telling him that we're brewing his beer. That's the biggest thing. All right. Okay. So anyways, y'all, welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. Man, that was a rough start. I do apologize for that, but thank you for whoever's here right now. You're amazing. Um, yeah, it's been a long time, you guys. It's been what, 2 months? 2 months. I think the last time I think the last time I streamed was when I kegged the Mexican lager, which we're going to try today. And that was really quick, and I had a ton of technical difficulties, so it's just been a rough go. But honestly, y'all, I'm really happy to be here. It's been too long, honestly. So for those of you who are new to my channel, if you're new and this is you in the background, you're wondering what the heck is going on. Well, we're going to be brewing beer today, as we always do here at the Speakeasy Brewer, and that's what we're going to be doing. But I haven't brewed or streamed in like 2 months. So, quick backstory. I'm going to be a dad. Well, I am a dad already, but my kid is on the way and he's due in like a week. Um, so, I have been spending all of my free time getting the nursery ready, doing projects outside just to finalize a few things for summertime. I was working on irrigation, and I just had no time because I was also trying to cram my entire work schedule into literally like a month and a half. So 2 months worth of work in a month and a half, in addition to house projects preparing for baby. So that's where I've been. Again, a week from now, baby will be here. So that's super exciting. So there's that. And before I forget, I remember my buddy's, he's going to be jumping on here before too long. Okay, let's do YouTube. Okay, we're going to go to the Speakeasy Brewer. I got to just make sure that I'm not missing anything that he might be posting. Wedding Mexican Lager. Got to make sure I see his chats. Hey, dude. All right, so he's on. So anyways, I just wanted to say hi to everybody if I can. Let's do this. Break it out. Okay. And we're also going to do Streamlabs. We're going to break that out. Okay, cool. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Streamlabs on one side and Nash on the other. All right, cool. So anyways, here we are doing the thing. Man, technology, man, is not my forte. Let me tell you what. There we go. There we go. Oh my gosh, come on now. Sorry, y'all. I promise this will be the last thing, if I can figure it out. All right, cool. So I got it. All right, so I could see your chats now, Jared, in YouTube. And I can see all my chats here. All right, cool. So anyways, here we are. We did it. We finally made it. Okay, so anyways, we're brewing beer today. And I got the camera set up. I got some extensions for the camera. We're not using cameras as sound today. So we got everything going. So let's get this show on the road, and we're going to talk about what's going into this beer. I made a few tweaks because even though the Mexican lager was absolutely fantastic, I had to make a few tweaks just to make it even better. So, so for those of you who are wondering, like, what is what beer brewing looks like, this is what it's going to look like for you. And I see that we have one new person that just jumped on. Thank you so much for jumping on. I apologize ahead of time for technology and the rough start. But anyways, welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. Today we are brewing a Mexican lager for my buddy Jared's wedding. And this is the final version of the beer. I have the original version, or version 1, in the fridge. We're going to taste test that and kind of talk about what flavors we're getting from that beer and what we're going to tweak. Okay, so today, let me show you. I'm going to bring you over to camera 2. Camera 2. Here we are, camera 2. Okay, check this out. Isn't this neat? Look at this. Wow. 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 All right, so when I bring it over here, I'm going to show you a couple things. Anytime I stream, you're going to see a couple things, okay? So on the far left side is the stream outline, okay? If you're wondering where we're at in the stream, I'll bring it over here every once in a while so you can kind of see what we're doing and where we're at in the process and where we're going to end up going. We have a few notes over here in terms of our mash temperature. I have to add one more, which is our strike water, which is important. Strike temp. We're looking for 159 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? And I'll explain all of this. I'm just showing you where we're at. And then we have our water additions because we started off with reverse osmosis water, doing water chemistry. And if you want really, really good beer, honestly, this is the best way I've found. I haven't done this with IPAs or stouts or anything along that line, but we're going to be playing around with it, okay? And so far, every time I've done this, which has only been with lagers, German Pilsners, and this Mexican lager, they've turned out amazing. So I'm thinking from here on out, I might have to do water additions for every beer. And then you'll see our grain bill. Okay, so let's talk about our grain bill real quickly. And let me just go back. I want to make sure I'm going back and forth to check out, to make sure we're not missing any chats. Okay, So I'm not missing anything in terms of the YouTube chat, which is great. One person's watching, so I think that's you, Jared. So thanks for watching. And then we have one person watching on Twitch, so this is good. All right, so here's our grain bill. Now the grain bill is all the grains that we're putting in the beer, okay? Basically, when we're brewing beer, we are making a tea, okay? That's all we're doing. So in our mash tun, we're gonna mix all of these grains together. We're gonna steep it in hot water for 60 minutes. Yes, 60 minutes, all right? It's not like herbs that you're making tea from. This is something totally different. And basically, we're making sweet tea, okay? And what we're making, the true term is we're making wort, W-O-R-T, and it's not spelled wort, and it's not the same meaning, wort. And that's that sweet tea that we're making. And it's going to be sweet because it's going to have all of the sugars from the grain, and it's also going to have all of the color from the grain as well as any other flavors that we have in the grain. So today it's pretty light in terms of flavors. We're not going to have crazy like caramel or roasty coffee chocolate flavors like you get in a stout, or really biscuity flavors that you're going to get with maybe like an IPA, for example. You will have a little bit of biscuit, but it's going to be kind of weedy. It's going to be sweet and creamy because we have corn in it, and it's going to be um, pretty calm in terms of flavor because we also have rice. But here's what we're going to be using today. So today we're doing 8 pounds of Pilsner malt, which is from Solstice Malts. Here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that is our base malt. Okay, that's about 80%, 85% of the, I think it's 80, 75%, 75% of the grain bill. And then we have 1.75 pounds of flaked rice, 1.39 pounds of flaked corn. So basically, what it is it's 15% rice and 10% corn, give or take. And then the rest of it is just very minuscule in terms of the amount. So it's going to be like like a half of a percent of white wheat malt. And then we're going to have 0.5% broken up into like 0.25, whatever it is. Anyways, Munich malt and then Care Munich malt. And the Munich malt and the Care Munich malt are there to add a little bit more body. We're going to add a little bit more color to it to kind of, because again, what we're shooting for is we're shooting for our version of the Modelo Especial. So I don't know if I've got one on hand anymore. I think I drank them all. Um, Anyways, it's a little bit more caramely or coppery in color rather than like that bright yellow. And I'm just trying to play around with this a little bit just to see if I can bring in that nice copper brass color. And that's what this is for. The white wheat is up more for head retention. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like with our current Mexican lager that's in the fridge, which we'll get to that here in about in a short amount of time because we're going to start the mash process here before too long. For hops, we did Cascade hops because that's a hop that I have in abundance because my parents have it growing in their on their property. So I might add a little bit more this time around, and the only reason is it wasn't as bitter as I was hoping for last time around. Again, trying to shoot for the Modelo Especial. If you've had it before, it's pretty skunky and it's pretty bitter. I honestly don't like it. I don't like the skunkiness or the bitterness that it brings about for the beer. So I chose Cascades because it's a little bit fine, like a little bit calmer on the bitterness side of things. It's a little bit more pleasant, and it's going to add a little bit more floral flavors too. And I think that made this last Mexican lager really, really good. But what I'm going to add is I'm going to add just a tad bit more. I don't know if it's going to be an actual ½ ounce extra because I just put 1 ounce in last time, but we might put 1.25 or 1.15, something along that line. For yeast, we're going to use the same one, White Labs WLP 940, which is Mexican lager yeast. Worked really well last time. Was able to maintain the temperature. And for those of you who follow my channel or know anything about home brewing or brewing in general, temperature during fermentation is a must. If you cannot control your temperature, your beer is going to suck. Sorry about that, but that's the truth. You need to hear it from somebody, and maybe we're not close friends yet, but if we become close friends, friends tell the truth, okay? Additions, Werflock tablet, which is a fining agent. It's a mix between, it looks like this. It's a mix between Irish moss and some other stuff, but it basically becomes gelatinous once it breaks down in the beer, and it's going to clean up all the proteins and hop particulate, and it looks like this. Okay, we're going to throw that in the last 15 minutes of the brew, and that's going to help clean things up. And then, because I did find out that my beer, it tastes really great, but if I put a little bit of lemon juice in it, sorry, not lemon juice, lime juice in it, it was off the charts. So this is what we're going to add to it, is lime peel. We're going to add lime peel to it. I hope it works out. I didn't test it on the last one, so I'm just thinking I'm just going to do it. It should turn out just fine, because it's just lime peel. We're going to put that in the last 15 minutes as well. All right, I'm going to step over here off the camera for a second, because I need to go check and make sure if any of y'all are chatting or have questions, I need to make sure I can answer it. Still have one person say on the okay, it looks like there's still one person watching, still assuming that's Jared, and we have one person on Twitch. All right, cool. So all right, we kind of talked a little bit about the ingredients. We'll go back and forth between that, but right now what we really need to do is start the water, because the water is going to be a huge important part of the process. So I'm going to bring you down just a tad so you can see what's going on. We're going to go ahead and put our propane on. And propane's nice. It's super cheap. One of these canisters, which is like a 5-gallon canister, will actually last me like 5, 6, maybe even 7 beers. So for the price, it's really, really good. I just see somebody else jumped on to Speakeasy Brewer on Twitch. So thank you so much for jumping on. We're brewing beer today. So things are just about to get going. I just went over the ingredients for our beer, and we're getting ready to get our water going. Pretty soon, once the water's hot enough, we're going to add our water additions. So we started off with reverse osmosis water, and we're going to add the minerals that we need to it. So sulfates, calcium, chloride, sodium, that kind of thing, bicarbonate. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I just hooked up our propane, and we're just going to add all of our water to this canister first and get it heating so we can get the process going. Because it's a long process. Honestly, the process is longer than I would like it. Also, when you're lifting heavy objects, always lift with your feet, or with your legs, not with your back. You don't want to hurt yourself. One of these days, I'm going to have my own little place that's going to be really sweet, and I'm going to hopefully have, well, let's do this smarter. There we go. Hopefully, I'll have like systems in place so I don't have to lift huge amounts of weight by myself. Have pulleys and chains and levers and such. Have it a little bit more mechanized. All right, so we need about 9 gallons of water today. So we're gonna heat up the first 5 gallons. What I did was, even though we're gonna use 9 gallons of water, I basically have 10 gallons of water total, and that's gonna make it a little bit easier for me to be able to balance out the water chemistry. It's just easier for me. So we won't end up using all of it, which is fine. What we do end up using, we're going to I guess we're going to use it. So brilliant. Okay, so let's get this bad boy opened up and get this thing going. So we need 159 degrees. I got my thermometer over here. It's pretty accurate. The grains, so let me show you guys real fast what I use to all right, so just bear with me for a second. So here's what I look at. This is my calculator that I use. It's mybrewsupply.com, which I think is for Michigan. because that's where this company is from, but it's a mash and sparge water calculator. Okay, so basically, you enter in your variables, your batch size, which is 5 gallons, your grain bill, which is 12.22 pounds, original gravity, which is 1.06. And I'm going to admit, Jared, if you're still watching, this is a little bit higher alcohol Mexican lager, and it tastes great. Boil length is 60 minutes, and our grain temperature, this is important. Our grain temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we have our mash profile, okay? So mash profile is it's broken down into 3 different profiles. You have your full body, medium body, and light body. Um, Full body is something that you'd expect for like a stout or a porter, oatmeal stout, that kind of thing, or maybe even some of the amber ales, maybe even some IPAs. It just depends. Maybe a Belgian, for example, like a double or a triple, that kind of thing. Something that's a little bit heavier. It's going to be really sweet. It's going to be pretty hefty. And then your medium body is going to be balanced between sweetness and dry, crisp, clean tasting beer. And then your light body, which is very, very dry, very crisp. There's no sweetness, and it's a clean tasting beer. And that's what we're shooting for our lager. Okay, so our mash temperature for today needs to be about 148 degrees Fahrenheit. If you watched my previous stream when we brewed this beer, it was my first time brewing in the summer in a whole year. So I was so used to brewing in the winter and playing around with temperatures from winter time that I just kind of stayed with the same thing. Well, the grain was warmer than I anticipated. And because the grain was warmer, it didn't cool the water down as well as I wanted it to. And so we ended up having a hotter mash. Okay, and I'll explain the science behind that once we get into the mash in process. So we ended up having a warmer mash, which meant that we ended up having more of a medium body beer rather than a light body. So our Mexican lager, although very good, is sweet. Most everybody that I've let try so far said it's amazing. And Jared, if you're watching still, I actually had 2 people say that even though they watch, or even though they like the, um, even though they like the, sorry, I'm just bouncing back and forth. I didn't realize you guys are still watching, but even though they like Modelo, they liked mine better. So there's a better beer coming your way. So anyways, that's what we're looking at, okay? So that's what I'm using when it comes to determining what temperatures I need for the grain. Okay, so that's why we're shooting for 159 degrees Fahrenheit, because our grain temperature, when I checked it out, was about 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not going to drop very much, and we need it to be about 48 degrees Fahrenheit. So 148 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what we're shooting for. So I don't waste resources. I'm going to put the top on. Once we get closer to our temperature, which we're at about 100 degrees right now. I'm gonna have to stop talking here before too long. Once it starts getting a little bit warmer, above 100, we're gonna add all of our additions, okay? So we're gonna use Himalayan pink salt instead of table salt, because table salt also has iodine in it. Iodine? Anyways, it's got an addition in it that I don't want in my beer, so I use Himalayan pink salt. It also works out really, really well. I don't know why, but it does. So that's one of my tricks. We're gonna add a little bit of baking soda. We're gonna add some gypsum and some Epsom salt. We're gonna throw all of that in the water to get the mineral content that we need for this beer. And I've got a special, let me show you. I've got a special element when I need a little bit more chalk in my beer, which is calcium. This is my special thing, Tums. Yes, Tums. I do put Tums in my beer, and I did that because the first time around when I tried water chemistry for the first time, I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to add more calcium. And I'm like, I don't have any freaking chalk. What am I gonna do? I need chalk. And then my stepdad was helping me with that beer, and he's like, do you have any Tums? The Tums is chalk, basically. I'm like, cool, sweet. So I did. So I ran and grabbed some Tums, and it's mint flavored Tums, which it's not enough mint to like add mint to the beer, but it was mint flavored Tums. And I put a small amount in, just a pinch, and it works every time in my beer. So if you're in a pinch and you're a home brewer and you're doing the water chemistry thing and you're like thinking the same thing, you're like, oh my gosh, I need more calcium. What the Sam hell? Then you can sit there and be like, wait, Austin from the Speakeasy Brewer said you could use Tums. let's use Tums. Boom, baby, boom. And you want me to show you how good Tums are? Let me show you. Well, right here. Oh, is this a medal? Oh, weird. Look at that. So this was from the Beehive Brew Off. Okay, I got a silver medal from my German Pilsner, and that was the first beer that I ever did water chemistry on. So um, let me just say that I'm speaking from experience. Okay. Anyways, so good. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We've got our water heating up. It's about 100 something. That's pretty close. We're gonna start adding our ingredients. Okay. So I'm gonna switch you over to this table so you can see what I'm doing. Come follow me. Hello. Okay. Here we are. We're using. Okay. Here is our baking soda. At least that's what my wife tells me. So. Uh, I hope it is. If it's not, then it's going to ruin the beer. And Jared, I'm just going to have you buy a ton of Modelo on your own. Here's our Himalayan pink salt. And then we've got our calcium chloride, which I don't know if you could tell in here, but they're in like ball form. Gypsum, calcium sulfate. And then we have our Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate. Okay. So I've got all of the ingredients down here, and just so you guys know, like right here where it says water additions, that is per 5 gallons of water. And you'll notice it's 0.5 grams of gypsum, 1.18 grams of Epsom salt, 0.4 grams of calcium chloride, 0.5 grams of baking soda, and then a pinch of sea salt. And that's all we put in. It's not that much. So for treating 5 gallons of water, absolutely minuscule. So it's crazy. And I got the sweet pocket scale. It's called a VitaFit. Don't worry, I'm not being sponsored by them. I wish I was being sponsored by somebody, but that'd be cool. Anyway, so I'm just gonna tell you what I use because it's good. But VitaFit, inspired for life. Okay, the reason I chose this one is one, it's super small. Two, super simple, and it is extremely accurate. So I love how accurate it is, and that's why I use it. And so it helps me. It gets down to like the 10th and 100th place, I think is what I'm shooting for. So I'll show you. It's got a bunch of different things, different units. Once it turns on, oh, it's not sitting straight. Okay, sorry. Now it's on the table. It's like, I can't figure out where we're at. Okay, anyways, I can't show you. But anyways, you got to just trust me. Okay, so we're going to put our plate on, our bowl on, and we are going to tare it for 0, and we're going to do gypsum first. Gypsum, which basically just looks like a powder. And this gypsum is really nice because it actually helps with managing the pH of your mash. So if you need, I put a little too much in there. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm just gonna do 0.60. It was a little too much, but that should be fine. I think I put in a little bit extra last time around. But anyways, here's what it looks like. It's not much, okay? So I'm gonna toss it in the water. Hot, 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 hot. Boom. It's like you're making a potion sometimes. Okay. All right, next. So that was gypsum. Next, we're gonna do Epsom salt. We need to do 1.18 grams. Holy cow! And it's so accurate that like it changes so fast. So I'm trying really hard to be accurate, as much as I can be, anyways. 1.15. Dang. Okay. 1 point. Dang it. Okay. Whatever. 1.21. I'm keeping good notes this time around because I need to make sure I can redo it again if it works out well. Which, Jared, don't worry, it'll work out well. I should come back and make sure that you haven't chatted yet. Okay, you haven't. Okay, cool. You're just watching. Sweet. Okay. Next, we're going to do. So that was Epsom salt, right? Yep. Next, we're going to do calcium chloride. Now, calcium chloride is a weird one. I'll show you what it looks like because it's just super bizarre. But we need. Why is it messed up? Okay. Calcium chloride, we need 0.4 grams. Point 0.45. Okay, I gotta take notes. When it comes to brewing beer, you gotta take good notes. But here's what it looks like. Okay, I think you can see that. Can you see that? It looks like little pellets, right? It's kind of weird. Okay, anyways. And for those of you who are new to my channel, if you have any questions, please ask. It's way more fun to answer questions than me just blab and talk and blah, 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 blah. 0.5 grams of baking soda, bicarbonate. That's what we need, bicarbonate. Why is it showing up? Okay, bicarbonate, we need 0.5 grams, which is not much at all. It's bizarre how little it is. Okay. Wow, 0.53. Okay, I'm messing up. 0.53. I gotta make sure that. Okay, we're still doing good. And then, like I said, a pinch of salt. Literally a pinch. Okay, and then we're gonna do a pinch of a tum. Tums. And for those of you who probably don't watch TV or weren't around in the 90s, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, that's okay. It's okay. No harm, no foul. For all of those of you who are jumping on and you're never seen the Speakeasy Brewer, you're probably like, what in the Sam hell is this guy doing? Is he making drugs? Well, no, I'm not making drugs. I am making beer. It's even better than drugs. I guess it depends on the person, right? Some people might say that beer is a drug. I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna add a little bit. And okay, that's good enough. So just so you can see, I just clipped off the top. That's about how much I put in. Is it the right amount? I have no idea. I just said pinch. That's what I remember from last time, and it worked out pretty good. So there's that. All right, so water's heating up. I need to mix it. And I need to make sure that I get all of the stuff off from this plate. And make sure it's well mixed. And we're getting pretty close to the temperature. And then we're going to start adding it to our mash tun. So for those of you who are not even aware of how beer is brewed, you've come to the right place, because I'm going to teach you how to brew beer from home. I'm in Utah, by the way, so I have had to learn how to brew beer, mostly because I wanted to, 2, because I want to start my own brewery, and 3, because in Utah, you can't get anything higher than a 5.0 beer at the grocery store. You have to go to the liquor store to get anything higher than that. And if you go to like an actual brewery, like they only give it to you in a can, and it's like a 12-ounce can, and I'm like, feel gypped. So I don't feel gypped when I make my own stuff, so it's good. I do a lot of hand motions too, by the way, so I might have some Italian in me. Anyways, so there we are. It's mixing in. We're getting pretty close. I'm gonna monitor this. And that, in fact, I'm gonna start putting a little bit of water in and preheat this container. So this is, oh wait, I gotta put this in too. Slow down, Austin, slow down. Okay. So in the mash tun, one of the most important things to add to it is this. It is called a false bottom. This basically helps to create a foundation for the grain bed, and it goes into our mash tun and it hooks up to that little spigot in the inside. And what this does is, 1, it makes a foundation slash bed for the grain to sit on. And then the next most important thing about it is when we move that wort from the mash tun into the boil pot, it prevents all the particulate and grain from flowing into the mash, or into the boil pot. So that's what we're doing, okay? All right, we're getting close. 159. Okay, so I'm going to preheat this just a tad. And I'm not too worried about it being like 100% on temperature. I should take that back. I was just sitting there saying it has to be on temperature. You're right, it does have to be on temperature. But what I mean is I'm just preheating it a little bit with cooler water, like 150 right now. Preheating it. I'm not too worried about losing temperature. In fact, I'd rather lose a little bit of temperature on these hot days than gain it, because again, we're trying to shoot for that nice, crisp, dry lager experience. So that's what we're doing. This is getting pretty dang close. We're at 152. So once we're good there, I think, let's see, how much water do I need in there? Let me check really fast. We need strike water, 3.82. So it's about 4 gallons. Okay, so we need about 4 gallons of water from here. The nice thing about this container is it has markings on here for me. And I'll just look at this. I'll turn it towards me first so I can see the amount that's going in. But we're going to be doing that here very soon. Once we have it in there, I'm going to put the top on and I'm going to go get the grains. So I'll be off screen for just a tad. And we're right now at about 158. No. 52, 54, 56. We're right there. It's just a matter of time. The nice thing about working with gas is you could be pretty darn accurate. And if you get scared and are getting close to a boil over, you can turn it off immediately and it'll die down. And we'll talk about boil over once we get to boiling. 158. That's close enough. I'm kind of nervous because I just don't want this to get too hot, honestly. Okay, so put this up here. Dealing with hot items, man, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. So, and heavy too. Water is heavy. So I'm using this pitcher to reduce the amount of weight that I'm lifting, because I think it was sometime during the winter time before I started having Swine Hunter help me brew beer. Well, by the way, Swine Hunter's now in Dallas. So bummed about that. He was a great companion, and he helped me helped my technology out a lot. So I went from sucking as a producer and a content creator to doing fairly good. So that's why I have 2 cameras and lights, because he helped me figure that stuff out. And that's why I've got a lapel pen, so I've got better sound quality for y'all. And all other stuff. I have an Instagram as well, but honestly, I suck at social media. So when it comes to like putting content on Instagram, it's few and far between. I just am not great at it. I need somebody to help me with that if I'm going to keep doing this whole thing. But I started the Instagram account to guide people to my channel. That was the whole point of it. Okay, that's close enough. Don't want to lose this heat. So you could go check it out. Also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe or follow, whatever it is, and join the Discord. I have the Discord link on my homepage or my channel page on Twitch as well as YouTube. I believe it's also on Instagram, but it's just the Speakeasy Brewer for YouTube, the Speakeasy Brewer for YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Nothing different. And then the Discord channel is great because we talk about beer. Obviously, I haven't been on it a whole ton lately because life's been busy. So anyways, all right, I'm gonna go get the grains. So I'm gonna step aside for a little bit. You'll probably hear me talking still, but I'll be back. You get to hear some sounds. Hello, Coda. All right, Coda is my pup. aka the Hoppy Puppy. My wife is Brubella. She usually makes a showing at some point in time on the show, and then we also have a new person who's going to be joining on here in the next few weeks, Brew Baby. Anyways, so here's our grain. You can see the flaked corn and rice. I'm showing the computer, but you can see flaked corn, rice, and then the rest of it's grain. So what we're going to do is a process called mash in. Okay. I use a infrared thermometer, laser designated thermometer. So 152, that's close enough. And then when we put the grain in, which is the mash in, you need to mix it, okay? Every little bit of it needs to be mixed in because you don't want any, oh, and I could show you guys this. Gosh, I'm sorry. I've got the capability because I've got lots and lots of cameras. So you can see what's going on. You're like, I can't see anything, Austin. Well, you will be here shortly. Let's see. Okay, you can see. All right, sweet. And we're gonna get you closer. Extreme close-up. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna dump it in. Normally, if I have two people here, I'll have one person stir while the other person pours. But you'll see all the grains in there right now. And we're just gonna mix it all in. Everything needs to be touching water, okay? Everything needs to be touching the hot water. And I'm gonna explain the science here in a second because once this is all mixed in, we are then going to start a timer for 60 minutes. This is my favorite part of the show because it's pretty much 12 o'clock right now, pretty close to it. And this is when we do the beer tasting. Although I'm still drinking coffee too. So I reach all the way down as much as I can to make sure there's no clumps. This is by going through and making sure there's no clumps, it increases your efficiency. And again, you really want to have all of the grain touching water because this, oh, I should take a temperature reading. 132, can't be. 145, 148, 149, okay. I'm gonna call that 146, which is perfect. It's perfect, y'all. It's so perfect. Oh, somebody's jumping on. Let's see who it is. I see. No. What's up, Tion? Oh, I'm so excited to see you guys. Hey, what's up? What is up? Oh, I feel so happy. I am so sorry that I haven't been on in so long. I have missed you guys so much. So, it's so, thank you, Tion, for jumping on. It's so great to see you again. You, Big Juicy Cat, Rob, all y'all, I miss y'all. Dr. Hoppenstein, you guys are just, you guys are great. So we're doing good. Obviously, I haven't been streaming. We don't have the baby yet. He's due in like a week or two. Oh, thank you. Actually, you must be watching the weather, huh, Tion? Because it's really freaking hot today. It's supposed to be 102, and I'm in the garage. And so, yeah. Yes, I have a new view. So, yeah, I'll show you. I got some new wires so I can like move around and not trip over everything. But I'll show you things. I set things up a little bit differently. But yeah, so I'm well. I'm done with work until for the next 12 weeks. I've just, and part of the reason why I wasn't streaming was I was fixing our irrigation in our yard so that we could water the garden. So Brubella didn't have to spend hours a day watering it. And then we painted the nursery and got a bunch of stuff put together. And then we were visiting family and doing baby shower stuff, you know, all that fun stuff. You guys did that recently. Well, I guess a year or so ago now. It's gone by fast. So yeah, that's why I haven't been doing that. It's just I haven't had any time. I've been doing 2 months worth of work in a matter of a month and a half. in addition to house projects and preparing for baby. So it's been bananas. So here I am brewing this beer. That today, it had to happen today though, because this beer is the one that's going off to the wedding. So it had to happen today. I did the whole time frame backwards, and I'm like, if I want it to be done right on time, it has to be done today. So Brubella as well. She's good. She's, like I said, we're 2 weeks away from the due date. So we're at week 38 as of yesterday. She's great. She's got really fat feet right now, which I feel really bad for. So we've been massaging her feet a lot, just trying to get her to calm down so it doesn't get all the water and blood and stuff down to her feet. So she's ready to be done carrying the baby. And then the little man, he's doing good. He's moving. Last night was like a record for the amount of movement he did. It was bananas. Anyways, thanks for the questions and thanks for the hydrate. Yeah, you can see my legs. I know. You're like, wow, he's so tall. He must stand on some pegs or something. You already get all. Yeah, we got everything. And did I lose? No, I didn't lose any weight. I might have gained a little bit, but thank you. I feel pretty good. It's called the beer diet. No, it's called the getting ready for baby diet. You just don't have time to do anything. So anyways, it is so great to see you again, Tion, and I see we have more people. So if you're new to the channel, please say hi. Welcome to Speakeasy Brewer. If you're normally a follower or fan or whatever, and you're just like, oh my gosh, he's still alive, he's here, please jump on and say hi. I miss you guys. Yeah, I know. I told Amy and Brubella, I was like, I'm so sorry that I'm a night owl. It seems that my night owl instincts went right into him. So there we go. So guess who's on night duty? Not her. Me. I'm on night duty. Once I can help feed, but for the first little bit, we'll figure it out. Everybody figures it out eventually. Oh, that's my own hydrate routine. Anyways, so good to see you. I forgot to set a timer, so it's been probably what, 5 minutes. Timer. Let's do 55. If it runs a little bit longer, and I need to set the temp, which the temperature. So the strike water, I did 158 was the actual, and then the mash temp, what did I say, 146? Between 146, 148. So that's perfect. I already feel really good about this beer, this version of this beer. We're doing some different things this time around. We're tweaking it just a tad. The last version came out really good, but this time it's going to be even better. Oh yeah, I'm drinking coffee right now. I told you guys I'm gonna drink beer too, so don't worry. Because Big Juicy Cat Dump Truck, I made a German Pils for him. Okay, I brewed it. It took forever in a day to ferment, and it's because I couldn't maintain the temperature. It would get too cold, and then it would be just right. And then it would get too cold again, and be just right again. And part of that's because of the time that I brewed it and the time that it was fermenting. It was just too dang cold outside. Finally kegged it, or bottled it, so he finally got a chance to see that. So if Big Juicy Cat is on at all today, we will finally taste test that. So we're going to taste test the German Pils. We're going to taste test the Mexican lager, and then I don't know, some other random one, but we're going to taste test them. Yeah, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, wow. Okay, well, that's good to know. I know I could come to you and ask for tips and advice. I'm going to be the house husband is what I'm branding myself. It's the new thing. Maybe it should be a Twitch channel, the house husband. And I'm just going to do all the laundry, all the diapers, all the dishes, all the cooking, all the cleaning. And I'll just sit there, and I should get like a really awesome little apron too. And some like commando pants or something like that. Make it look fun. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm going to be doing. So lots and lots and lots of that. So how's your little man? I'm curious. Is he walking around yet? He must be. If he isn't, he will be soon. Anyways, okay, yeah, there's that. Okay, one thing I need to do, and this is what I highly recommend. Again, brew day takes forever, so it's all about efficiency. So I could be using this time to do something else, and that's called heating our strike water. So remember, this is our mash tun, which I can turn around now. We're basically steeping the grains to make a tea, okay? And then, um, uh, so once that's done, then we're going to rinse it off and collect all the color, the sugars, and all that other stuff into the boil pot. And then we're going to do that. So, but I should explain a little bit too what I'm doing with the mash. So for those of you who are new to the channel, or maybe you don't have any idea of how beer is brewed, I told you in simpleton terms that what we're making is tea, right? Sweet tea, which is called wort. And that's all true, but there's a lot more that's happening inside of here because you're sitting here going, oh, so why is it a big deal to have the right temperature? Talked about it for a small amount of time when we went over our mash calculator. Our mash calculator, remember I told you they had 3 mash profiles, full body, medium body, and light body. And it was all based on temperature. Okay, and I told you that full body is more for like stouts and porters and oatmeal stouts and maybe even amber ales and things like that. Medium body is more for like IPAs, other amber ales, that kind of thing, just ballpark types of beers. And then light body would be for like Kolsch's, blondes, saisons, and obviously lagers. Okay, so that because you get different. Uh, with a full body, it's a little bit more rich and sweet. Medium body, it's half rich and sweet and half dry and clean and crisp. And then when you get to the light body, it's crisp, clean, dry, boom, and that's all it is, okay? And it should have very little sweetness unless you add sweetness to it at some point in time, like if you're using honey or something. Okay, so now what we're doing here is, well, I should explain also that the process of what's happening inside of here is a fancy science term called saccharification. And basically what we're doing during that process is we're not doing anything. The science is happening. The proteins and the grains are doing all the work for us, and that hot water is doing all the work for us. But during saccharification, we are converting starches into sugars. So you have long starch chains in the grains, okay, that are being released by this hot water. And then what's happening by that hot water is you're also activating proteins that are in the grains, and those proteins are being activated and they're eating these starch chains and they're breaking them into either really small starch chains, which are called or simple sugars, or they're breaking them into longer, less, they're not longer starch chains, but they're longer sugar chains, which are complex sugars. Simple sugars get eaten by yeast. Complex sugars do not get eaten by the yeast, okay? And you have 2 types of proteins that I know of that are in the mash right now doing their job. You have beta amylase and alpha amylase. Alpha amylase is the one that will break the starch chains into longer complex sugar chains, okay? And then you have beta amylase, which is taking the starch chains and breaking it up into really small, simple sugars, okay? Um, Alpha amylase is more active when the temperature is hotter, and beta amylase is more active when it is colder. So since we are working on a lager today, we want the mash, the temperature to be colder, so you have more beta amylase active than there is alpha amylase, and that beta amylase is eating up all those starches and turning them into all simple sugars. That means the yeast will have more food, and that yeast will eat it and it'll make it less sweet. So last time, if you watched the stream for the Mexican lager last time, I was shooting for the same temperature as we did today, 148 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? That was the mash temperature we were shooting for. We got 156, okay? That's almost 10 degrees hotter. That was more of like a medium body on the verge of a full body. So there was a lot of a lot of complex sugars in the beer or in the wort. So during fermentation, the yeast had only so much sugar that they could have. So they were eating all the simple sugars, but there was a lot of complex sugars left over. And those complex sugars made the beer sweet. So it is a sweet beer. It's really good, actually. It was a happy accident. But anyways, there's that. Okay, so Brubella needs you. She would be in pain all the time, happy, angry, scared, and tired in the same moment. All the time. First 2 weeks will be hard, but you will get this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I am totally there for her the whole time. That's why I'm not working. I was like, I'm going to call in sick for my trip that starts 2 days from now. because I need to be here for the birth. So that's what's happening. And then your other question, which one is your favorite? More sweet? That's a great question because, like everything I say in beer, it depends. Depends on the style of beer I'm drinking. Like if I honestly, I'm not like super sweet, so I should say I would go for like the medium sweet to not sweet at all if I had to choose, or if when I choose a beer, that's what I aim for, is something that's a little bit more dry or medium body at the most. But then I have had some really amazing beers, stouts, like the one I made, which was really good. But I've also had a few other stouts, like a peanut butter stout or peanut butter chocolate stout, which was fantastic. Um, it was really sweet, and it just tasted like somebody took a Reese's peanut butter cup, melted it, threw it in a cup, and added some CO2 and said, "Enjoy." And I was just in ecstasy. It was so good. So it really depends on the type of beer that we're trying to shoot for. So, all right. So I need to get some water going here. So I'm going to do that because I need to make sure that this is ready to go when the time comes. So give me 1 second, Tion, and I'll be back. And for those of you who are also on right now, make sure to say hi. I miss all my friends. It's just been way too long, and it's actually kind of fun to be on here during the day again in the middle of the week, because I know that my European friends are all going to be on right now if they haven't forgotten about me. But also, I had to get this this beer going because it has to be done on the 15th. Well, in fact, it has to be done on the 8th of September, so I can get it all carbonated and kegged, and it's going to get shipped off to Oregon for a wedding. Oh, something happened. What did I miss? Hey, Rob, what's up? Thanks for the subscription again, man. I appreciate it. You are awesome. I'm pretty sure that you all know Rob with two B's, but if for whatever reason you don't know Rob with two B's, he's somebody you have to go follow. He's a super awesome dude, very kind, and he loves to bake. And he's working through, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob with two B's, but Paula Peck's book. I don't know the name of it, so I can't remember that much detail, um, but it's a whole bunch of different recipes, different, and I'll tell you what, his stuff is mouth-watering. It looks so good. I actually got to meet Rob with two B's, and he's just as cool in real life as he is on stream. So if you don't know him, go check his channel out. Paula Peck's The Art of Fine Baking. Okay, that's what it is, The Art of Fine Baking. So go check out his channel if you want to get your mouth watering a little bit, and because it's going to happen. And I don't know, good thing your channel doesn't come with calories, because if it did come with calories, I'd be way fatter. Earlier, Tion said that I look like I lost weight because of the new camera angle. If your channel had calories, I'd be very heavy. Anyways, it all looks delicious. But yeah, hey man, you're awesome. I keep taking notes when I watch your stream too, because you do a lot of really awesome stuff that I'm like, I should do cool lights. I should do a party time. I should do this. I should. Also, I have to say that was super cool. I loved hearing that story. Did you get sponsored by Breville for that whatever it was called, the blender? Because that was super cool. I'm really happy to hear that happened. Um, See, it pays to be consistent and have good content, and Rob is consistent and has good content. So check him out if you haven't checked him out. No. So what? Did somebody just give it to you? Like gift it to you or something? Oh, awesome. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I was about to say, I'm like, man, already getting sponsors. Yeah, baby, that's what we do. Come on. I don't have any sponsors. I like to make up my own sponsors. I don't get paid for them at all. For example, this coffee. This coffee is my friend's coffee. I think I've said this before. He pops on every once in a while, and his name is Hush Hush Coffee. One of my best friends, actually is my best friend. He lives in Bend, Oregon. Started a business called Hush Hush Coffee. This is his coffee bag. Hush. And this one was the Rwanda, and the tasting notes are deep sweetness, winey acidity, hint of honey, black cherry, and rooibos. And it's really good. To me, I taste, I guess I could taste the sweetness and the rooibos, but I can't taste all the other stuff. But it's really freaking good. So his website is hushhushcoffee.com, and one of the coolest things that they do, and I'm not being sponsored by him. I like to, you know, talk about my friends because they're awesome. Rob is one of them. Tion's another one of them. But like whenever my friends are doing something cool, I just have to like pump them up and like talk about them. But he does this really cool thing where they started the company. When they started the company, what they did was they would go out to like out in the middle of nowhere, like on these big hikes, like out in the woods, and they'd set up a like a table, and they'd roast coffee, not roast coffee, but they would heat up water and make coffee, and they'd put their location down on Instagram, and then people would show up, and they'd have these community gatherings, and they'd just drink coffee and all this other stuff. And it was really cool because there's a lot of people who are actually connecting and networking through that experience, which led to like business ventures and all this other stuff and new friendships. But people loved it. People loved like waking up, looking on Instagram, where are they going to meet and all this other stuff. And then they go out and either bike out or hike out, and they go have this coffee. And so this idea is it's a subscription-based coffee. So it's like $35 a month, and you get two bags of coffee, 2 pounds of coffee basically. And um, and the hope is that you share it with people. It's just been me and Brubella sharing it really, but mostly me drinking it because Brubella can't have that much coffee, so I'm a little selfish right now. But the whole point was to get people in on it. And so especially places like Salt Lake or Bend, Oregon, or places that have a lot of outdoor options, it's cool to like connect people. And so they're hoping to get groups of people to do the exact same thing they did, just go out and have conversation and connect via coffee, which is cool. So don't feel like you need to go buy from them, but just go check them out. Cool story, fun stuff. I am. I'm sponsored by Goldfish. Yeah, right? Check Poseidon. You get to see Poseidon right here. Amy, she painted this. This is Poseidon. This was our first pet, and he's forever immortalized in this painting. And he's watching my every move. Anyways, that's the story behind the goldfish. And I just figured it's such a great backdrop, you know? I love it. And then it always feels like somebody's watching you, but it's something cute. I don't know. That looks cute, right? I think it looks cute. Anyways, maybe I'm biased because it was my old pet. But anyways, let's come back to the screen. I need to do the water profile stuff again. I don't know. Is this camera too far? Does it need to be up close? I'm open for feedback too. I need to do this real fast though, because the water's gonna be done here before too long. All right. We could start by a pinch of salt. It's Himalayan pink salt. And then we'll add eye of newt. And then, no, I'm joking. Pickled pig's feet. Oh, and Tums. Don't forget about Tums. Tums are like the most important part. Yeah, babies are important. Hopefully, hopefully one of these times I will have Brew Baby out here helping me brew. So that'd be kind of fun to share that experience with you guys. You'll get a chance to meet the little man. All right, so gypsum, we're doing this. Let's do the baking soda first. Baking soda is 0.5 grams. 0.5 grams. This is why I brew beer and don't sing, because my singing is horrendous. 0.54, it's close enough. Boopity boppity. Okay, next we're gonna do, I'm gonna put all this stuff over here. Next, let's do calcium chloride, 0.4 grams. Point 0.4 grams. Boopity boppity. Okay, next we're gonna do gypsum. And we need 0.5 grams. Everything's 0.5 grams. So funny, a lot of this stuff looks like drugs. It looks like cocaine or something like that. There's nobody that knew what I was doing. They'd be like, what the Sam hell? Well, get out of there. Get in the water. Get in the water. There we go. Okay. Last but not least is some Epsom salt. We need 1.18. Oh, that was too fast. I'm trying to move quickly. Haste makes waste, you know, the saying. Okay. That's close enough. All right. Okay, cool. Our water additions are done for the day, which is awesome. Now we just got to mix. Sorry if I'm not paying attention, y'all. What's going on? Okay, dance. What did that? I don't know what I said. Probably good that I don't. What haste makes waste? Or maybe I shouldn't even try and think of what was being said. Just in case. I don't want to get canceled. Canceled! Sometimes I feel like I'm being all like secretive and naughty because I'm like brewing beer in my garage in Utah, just waiting for somebody to roll up on a bicycle and be like, hey, you can't brew here. You can't make beer. That's too much fun. All right. All right, so that's gonna heat up now. I think it's time for a beer review, shall we? Okay. So I'm really excited to show you guys my, I feel like I need to like bring this closer because I feel like it is a little far. Don't you guys agree? There we go. You can see my face now. All right, cool. Snow and summer flower, something else, but yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Probably shouldn't. Okay, let's get some beer. Um, okay, I meant to get a pint glass, but we're gonna do the Mexican lager first because guess what? It's what we're brewing right now. So here we go. Here we go. In the Mexican lager. Oh, and I'm gonna share with you guys what I'm gonna be doing with this Mexican lager, which I'm really excited about also. So this is a twofold thing. Okay, remember I said white wheat for head retention? Check out that head retention. Boom. Look at that color. It's beautiful. Maybe I should do this. Just get a little bit more light so you can see. Let's see, how does that look? Looks pretty good. Yeah, so anyways, here you go. Nice color, golden yellow, good carbonation, good head retention. And the smell, I mean, it smells like it would be crisp or clean. To me, it kind of has a similar smell to like St. Polly's Girl, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Doesn't really smell like Modelo. Modelo, it just smells like kind of skunky. Um, Floral, smells very floral, like a flower. So anyways, beautiful color though. Look at that. Mm. So it's really sweet, and I don't know why I could taste it today, but I don't know if I want to say it. It kind of has a aftertaste of corn pops. If you guys have ever had that cereal where it's like puffed corn, where they douse it in sugar, tastes like that a little bit, which is interesting because I've never tasted that before. But it's a medium body for sure. There's some sweetness to it, um, and then there's also some crispness to it, and then it also just has like that bready, because most of the grain bill is grain anyways. But it's really fresh, and it's floral, which is kind of unusual for a beer, but or for a Mexican lager. But it's good. It's clean. It's light. So yeah. Ooh, that's good. Okay, so here's what I'm excited about with this beer. Okay, I know I've said this multiple times before, but we're doing it for real this time. So I have a little less than 5 gallons of yeah, yes, basically. I know. Um, that's the aftertaste. Floral corn pops. I could just make it that. I'll just next time I brew this, I'll just call it floral corn pops, and everybody's like, I got to try that just to see, and they'll taste it and they'll be like, this is delicious because it's really good actually, surprisingly. With that, me trying to explain it that way doesn't sound good, but it is, and you're hearing right. Okay, so that 5 gallon keg of this Mexican lager, because I have to clear out my kegs because I'm going to fill it with beer. It's going to be going off to the wedding. So these things have to get cleared out. So what I'm going to do is a fundraiser. Um, and so what I did was I went and bought myself some Speakeasy Brewer pint glasses. So I'm super excited about that. And we're going to have a gathering at my house. And I am going to be selling only the pint glasses. And because I can't sell beer. So I'm going to sell the pint glasses, and that's going to help support the channel and the ingredients and me being able to do it again with more beers. And then what I'm going to do is for every pint of beer that people want to have, they're going to donate $10 to one of the 5 charities that I've chosen for them to donate to. And so every donation of $10 to the charity they choose, they get a pint of beer. So that's the plan. So that's what we're going to be doing with it, and we're going to clear out all the kegs. It's not just going to be the Mexican lager. It's going to be the leftover, the IPA, and whatever bottles that I feel safe to share with people. Just going to get rid of all of it because I need to clear out some bottles so I can do some more beer, and I just need to clean out the kegs so that it's ready for wedding time. So that's what we're going to do. Um, it's super cool. And I don't know, you guys jumped on. Rob, I know you're a subscriber, so I don't know if it would affect you, but Tion, did you have any advertisements? I know this was a while ago that I asked this, but hopefully there's no advertisements on the channel, because it's always cool to make cash from like doing things like this, but honestly, like I'm just doing this for fun, and it's just fun to have you guys here. And the ultimate goal would be to have enough people that follow that I can eventually get sponsors to buy the beer ingredients or equipment or something like that. But that's further on down the road. It's gonna have to slow way down once baby comes. Um, but I just want it to be chill. And if people want to support the channel and subscribe, that's awesome because all the subscription, any money I get from the channel is going to go right back into the channel for new equipment, better equipment, or ingredients. And I don't know, that kind of thing. So just let me know what y'all are getting in terms of advertising. Oh, cute. Thanks. Well, I appreciate that. You don't need to donate anything. It's just fun to have you be here. Um, yeah. So we're going to be doing that here in, I think, a week. So my pint glasses should be here in hopefully 7 days, which is getting kind of close to the birth date of little man. But yeah, we'll see. But we're hopefully gonna, make some big change because I've got about 40 pints of beer in each keg. Well, less, 40 pints of the Mexican lager is what I have, and probably like maybe 10 pints left of the IPA. So hopefully we can make, if we're doing $10, it's about $400, almost $500 worth of donations that we'll be able to do. So I'm super excited about that. And again, I don't even get the money. They just donate to the charity that's local to here in Salt Lake, and then they get beer. So I want to do more of that. So I can't drink that much beer. I love beer, but I don't like to get plastered, and I have a lot of beer. If I were to drink all this beer, I mean, I'd be plastered for at least 3 or 4 weeks if I drank it all. And I don't like doing that. To me, beer is art, as you all know, and I like to enjoy it, and I like to smell it and taste it and really break. Oh, I just realized, whew, oh my gosh, I caught it at the perfect temperature. Holy cow, how good is that? Anyways, so yeah, so beer is art for me, so I can't drink it all. So I figure if I'm going to be brewing as much as I have been, especially on Twitch, I might slow down to one beer a month, at least for the time being, until little man gets a little older and things like that, because it takes a lot of time. But yeah, I don't know. We can make some change. Changing the world one beer at a time. That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm all about. And I mean, we still have this charity thing going on Twitch, which Rob, I have lots of time. You know what we need to do? We need to finish up that Civilization game and see if we can, you know, get this thing going. We got to finish that game. Who knows who's going to win? It was pretty half and half the last time, if I recall it correctly. All right, let me get this thing going real fast. I need to. Okay, I'm gonna just do it. I wish my friend was here. Swine Hunter, where are you? Freaking Dallas, that's where you're at. Yeah, dude. Well, I'm home, man. I'm home. And also, the most important thing when working with hot items is to be cautious, because you're dealing with hot, heavy items all the time when you're brewing beer. Especially this container. It's got hot boiling water, almost boiling water in it, and the container is hot because the flames get up on the side. So I always recommend that you use the highest level of safety. And for me, I always use my bare hands. Okay. I can't go a stream without saying that, right? If it's a brew day, you got to use bare hands. I know, my jokes are unbearable. Sorry. I know. I'm sure I've had some followers and subscribers leave because they couldn't bear it anymore. Lift with your legs. Whew. My baby's not gonna be that heavy. Whew. But that's good practice. I'll tell you what. Man. Okay. I know everybody's like rolling their eyes right now. Yeah. Yep. Bad dad jokes. That's what I do. Brew beer and do bad dad jokes. Okay. We got the strike water done. We talked about we talked about what's happening in the mash tun. Talked a little bit about water chemistry. Boop, 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 done. We did the Mexican lager. Okay, The next beer we're going to try is the German Pils. And I'm really sad that Big Juicy Cat isn't on here right now. But if he watches this later, this is for Big Juicy Cat, because I don't recall ever testing this beer for him. So for those of you who are here right now, you get to be here, test it out with me. This, I'm going to say, is probably one of the best beers I've ever made. And I'm really, really excited about it. Oh, got sprayed in the face with beer. Okay, so let's do this. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, you know what we should do? Let me do something real fast. Because I feel like you guys need to see the color for what it is, because this color is amazing. Okay, okay, you can't see? Cool. I'm not worried about you guys, Tion and Rob, but there might be some weirdos. So here's what we're going to do. This is the German Pilsner. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So one thing is, if you can notice, it's a little hazy. And the reason it's hazy is because when I pulled it out of the fridge, I hit one of the kegs and it shook it up. So it's got a little bit of yeast from the bottom, but yeast isn't going to hurt you. But look at that. Got a head that retains, which is good. I probably could have added a little more wheat to it, but it is such a clean beer. It is so good and is so clean. This one, I've saved 3 bottles. I'm going to go again for a silver medal, if not a gold. But I need to brew again. I need to do the Arrakis beer was probably one of the most popular beers I brewed. One of our neighbors, she would drink like 2 or 3 whenever we'd hang out with her. So she drank all of them. I have no more left. So, but she said it was one of her favorites. And I think, Rob, you had it recently, the Arrakis ale. So I'm going to do one of those, I think, for the competition, which I don't really have that much time, honestly, because it's in October. So I can only do ales. So I'd have to do the Arrakis ale. I want to do a stout, and I need to redo this IPA, which I don't know. Hey! Jarface, what's up? Welcome to Speakeasy Brewer. Thanks for jumping on and saying hi. We're brewing beer today. Inside this container is all of our grains for our beer. So it's in the mash tun. And up here we have our strike water, which is our hot liquor tank. It doesn't have liquor in it, but that's what it's called. And we're going to use this water to basically rinse all the sugars and color and flavor from the grains into the boil pot. So we're just about to get to that. Right now I'm taste testing one of my German Pilsners that I brewed 4 or 5 months ago now. So, man, and again, this is one of my best beers I've ever made. It is so freaking good. Yeah, I'm getting to that point with my beer making that it's just like, it's hitting a point where I need to take it to the next level. So since I've got a baby on the way, I'm going to be home for 12 weeks. So I've got a lot of time to think, if I can think, because I'm pretty sure I'll be tired. Tion can attest to that. I'll probably be pretty tired for the first few weeks. But anyways, yeah, we're brewing beer. We drink beer. And when I say we drink beer, we drink beer, but we do taste tests and beer reviews. And that's probably going to be one thing that you'll see me do more of once I have the kid. Probably be not able to produce or brew beer as often as I used to. I was doing 2 beers a month. So what I'll probably end up doing is 1 beer a month from here on out, and then probably working on some beer reviews. And what I'd like to do is try beers from all around. So I think my goal, I have a few ideas, but my goal is going to go to every single brewery in Utah, and we're going to try all of the beers there over a period of time, obviously, because it's a lot of beer. Can't drink it all at once. But anyways, so yeah, cheers to all y'all for being here today. And if any of you guys have questions about anything, please holler at me. Because otherwise I'm just talking. But it's a beautiful day though here in Utah, and it's gonna be like 102 today. So I'm already like sweating. If it looks like my face is all shiny, it's because it's sweat. Um, and then the beer doesn't really help because it's more heat and more humidity. So you know what I should do though? I should turn on this fan. I forgot I even have this. That's a great idea. Shoot, why didn't I think of this sooner? Got a fan. I'm a big fan of that, obviously. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that feels so good. Ooh. Probably explained this earlier, but what defines a Mexican lager in terms of grain bill and hops? Okay, very good question. I did not say that earlier. So in terms of the grain bill and hops, so if you look on the beer judge certification manual, they're actually, as far as I know, let's look. So I don't want to be talking out of my hiney when I say this. Let's see here. Oh, I just saw. Sorry, Jared, if you're still watching. If you're still watching, I apologize for not seeing your channel or your chat. Anyways, let me look at my computer real fast. Beer judge certification. Let's see, Mexican lager. Let's see, search. Where's the search tab? Mexican lager. Oh, there's only one. Okay. So the Mexican lager is considered an international pale lager. So it doesn't actually have its own category in the beer judge certification program for the United States. It is. It could be they might have one for Europe or elsewhere. But for here, let's break it down. So it falls under the international pale lager because that's what it is. It's a pale lager from another country. And what makes a Mexican lager is they actually have flaked corn in it, as well as maybe a little bit of rice. But as far as I know, it's just grains and corn. And then what they do for the hops, as far as I know, they only do one edition of hops for bittering only, and they use what was it? It wasn't Hallertau Mittelfrüh. It was a North American hop. Galena hops? No, that wasn't it. It was something. It was like the American version of Hallertau hops. So it's not as floral and as you would find for the Hallertau German hops, but it is spicy, and it's kind of got a bright taste and kind of a skunky taste. So those are the hops, and so they use North American hops. And actually, like when I chose to brew this beer, I did a lot of research in terms of like water profiles and all this other stuff, and a lot of people were calling it like a North American lager or an American lager because they use basically ingredients that you can only find in the Americas. So that's kind of where you're at. But again, it's mostly Pilsner malt and corn and the hop that's the American version of the Hallertau. And for those of you who are home brewers or maybe professional brewers, Dr. Hoppenstein, where are you? You would probably be able to know the hop that I'm thinking of. That's one thing that I have a hard time knowing where you can substitute certain hops or where hops are similar. That's my next goal, is to work on hops. I actually found a PhD level hop book at the brew store, and I'm thinking I might buy it and learn about hops to a whole nother level, because I always talk about alpha acids in hops. And with hops, you have alpha acids and beta acids. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let's go to the drawing board and I'll show you. Okay, so I'm here now. Okay, so I'm just going to use this square so you can see where I'm at. Okay, so with hops, you have something called an alpha acid. Okay, it shows up as alpha acid percentage basically. So there's beta acids, and I don't know enough about beta acids, but the alpha acids, there's a couple things. So I've seen alpha acids that are as low as like 3.5% up to like 16%. Okay, now what does that percentage mean? Okay, so simple terms, with an alpha acid, when you're looking at hops, the lower the percentage, the lower the bitterness. The higher the percentage, the higher the bitterness. Okay, that's plain and simple. Okay, there's not a whole lot of science behind that. I mean, there is a lot of science behind that, but I'm just trying to keep it simple because that's basically what I understand. Another thing to consider is the higher the alpha acid actually acts as a like not antimicrobial, but antiviral. It's not that antibacterial. It's got a certain property that basically the higher the alpha acid, it kind of protects the beer from wild bacteria and yeast and things like that can actually help protect your beer, versus a lower alpha acid, which doesn't protect your beer. And so during the boil, and this is what I was going to talk about a little bit, but during the boil, what happens is you have a process called isomerization, however you say it, and then it goes from an alpha acid to an iso-alpha acid. Again, I don't really know what that means other than from what I understand, again, because I've only been brewing for 3 years, is that when the hops are in the boil, they're releasing their oils, which is the alpha acid as far as I know, and then it goes into the beer. And so with hops, you have bittering hops, and then you have flavoring hops, and then aromatics. Okay, and the aromatic hops and bittering hops, flavoring hops, those are different characteristics that the hops add to the beer. So with bittering hop, you add it at the beginning of the boil. Okay, so 60 minutes. When we boil beer, or when we're boiling the beer and going through that process, we start the countdown from 60 down, opposed to counting up. Okay, so as soon as beer is boiling, we add our first addition of hops. Okay, that's our bittering hop. It's going to be in there the longest amount of time, and it's going to bitter the beer. Okay, then you have your flavoring hops, and this can be anywhere between like 20 and 0 minutes, but it's more about like, I shouldn't say that. It's more like 20 to 10 minutes left of the boil. That's when you're adding the hops that are going to add the flavor of the beer, and then the last like 10 to 0 minutes, the last 10 minutes of the boil, you're going to be adding the aromatics. Sometimes you even add the aromatics once you do the flame out. So once the fire's turned off, you're going to add the aromatic hops. And so again, aromatics are for more the aroma of the beer. That's what you're smelling in the cup. The flavor is what you're tasting in the cup. And the bitterness is obviously the bitterness, whether it's like a hoppy IPA where it's like intense right away, you're getting bitter hop flavor in your mouth, and then the aftertaste is hop bitterness. That's kind of what it is. Or for example, like with our Modelo, so the Modelo is very, the aroma is skunky and spicy in terms of aromatics, and the flavor is it's pretty high on the bitterness level, right? So they just use bittering hop, and that characteristic of that hop, they might have added some aromatics, but the characteristic of the bittering hop has a certain aromatic that comes out with it just by the hop that they choose. Okay, so I hope that answers. And then they have beta acids. I don't know how that works, But you're always going to see when you buy hops, you're going to see on the hop. I don't know if I have one. Let me get one real fast. Okay, so aromatics. Sorry. Thank you, Tian. I appreciate you protecting my channel. You guys are awesome. Okay, so aromatics. I wasn't talking about any specific hop for aromatics, but aromatics are the type of hop that you want to add at the end of the beer, and that's going to give you what the smell of the beer is. So, for example, this German Pilsner. Okay, you're going to smell the grain. So bready, biscuity, but then there's this really sweet floral flavor or aroma that I'm smelling. So those are the hops that I add at the end of the boil, okay? And that's what you're going to smell in the cup before you even drink it. And if you really want to enjoy a beer, like smell it first and stir, like swirl it around. Like if you get one of those cups, it's more like a tulip. You could swirl it around kind of like with wine, and it releases the aromatics, and you can put your nose in there and really smell what it smells like. And then after you smell it, then you taste it, because sometimes you'll smell something and not taste it, and other times you'll smell it and taste it. So with my IPA, my last few that I've made, it always smelled amazing, but I never tasted what I was shooting for. Like it smelled citrusy and floral and amazing, and then when it came down to it, all I got was the grainy, biscuity, bready flavor of beer with the hops, like the hop bitterness. But I never got the flavor, and I was so disappointed. So I finally figured it out. But when you, I don't know if you guys could see this, but when you get a hop from a brew store, you're going to see obviously the name, and it's going to always be in 1 ounce bags. And then you're going to see the alpha acid. In this case, it's a Centennial. It's got an alpha acid of 8.4%. Okay. So again, the higher the alpha acid, the more bitter your beer is going to be. It's also going to protect the beer. The lower the alpha acid, the less bitter, the less protected. The other thing too is with beer, when it's going through the fermentation process, is you're creating alcohol. So alcohol also acts as a protectant for your beer. So anyways, there's that. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay, so good question, Tian. In terms of your question here, so do you mean naturally aromatics, or you put something in it? So again, my answer, as always, is it depends. Okay. So with beer, it always depends. Kind of like flying, it always depends. You can ask me every question you want about flying, and I'll always say, well, it depends. Okay, so for example, today I'm going to be adding lime peel to our beer. And you're probably wondering, why are you adding lime peel to the beer? And the reason is because when I tried this Mexican lager the first time, again, it was really sweet, it's really good. It's actually really fantastic. But once I added some lime juice to it, fresh lime juice, it like took it to a whole nother level. That's what you do when you have a Modelo or a Corona. You put lime in it, and it just adds to it. So since I added lime to it, I was like, well, that sounds good. And I was going to actually use I think it was a Rawaka hop, which is a New Zealand hop that adds lime characteristics it adds lime characteristics to the beer. Okay, so instead they didn't have that at the brew store. So instead, what I did was I got lime peel. So this is going to add lime flavor to the beer. We're just going to pour it in at the last 15 minutes of the boil, and hopefully it'll add a little bit of lime to it. So yeah, sometimes you're going to add flavors to it. For example, like when I did the Arrakis Ale, the Dune themed one, I added cinnamon and cardamom to the beer to add flavor. So I'm adding herbs to it. So you can add things to it, but also with hops, when we're talking about aromatics, when you're aromatic hops, there are certain characteristics oftentimes bred into that hop that are going to add that flavor and that aroma to the beer without adding anything from the outside, no extra stuff to it. You could just do grains and hops, and you're going to get flavor and aroma from those grains and hops. Also, yeast plays a role in it too, because, for example, with my IPA, I used citrus yeast from imperial yeast, and that is designed and bred to amplify the citrus and floral aromas, but mostly citrus, at a higher temperature. So once you get to that high 75, 80 degree temperature, it's going to amp up all that citrus. So grapefruit, lemon, lime, orange, boom, it's going to be really bright and citrusy with that particular yeast. So it's also a dependent on the yeast. So again, a lot of depends there, right? So anyways, that's also a good question. So with this beer, the amount of sugars that are actually in it are should balance it out well enough. But the other thing too is these are dried and dehydrated lime peels, so it's going to add the flavor of lime, but probably not the the sourness of the lime. So that's a very good question. I appreciate that. So yeah, that's that. Okay, we have only a few more minutes before it's time for the Vorlauf. Mm. Um, what was I gonna say? I still think at some point in time I want to come to Germany. Brubella and I should come to Germany with Brew Baby, and then we can meet up with Big Juicy Cat um, and you, Tion, you and your hubby and your baby, and my friend Mario. We got a few people in Germany. Oh, thank you, thank you. I do need to hydrate. You're right. Beer is not hydration. I added some electrolytes to this water because today is so dang hot. On screen celebration. Woo! Guess what? I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna be a dad. Oh. Boom. I don't have the cool lights like you do, Rob. Um, I'm also brewing beer. What was I doing the other day? I was doing something. I was embarrassing Brubella, and we were talking about dance moves, and I was just like, this is my move all the time. Like if I go to a wedding, I just stand there and do this. And what it does, so next time you're at a dance party, let's say you want some space around you, you just do this. You just do this, and you just go around in circles, and nobody gets around you because you're just gonna poke them. You know, it's kind of like you're like, I don't want to be in a mosh pit, but get out of my mosh pit because here I am just doing the moves. That's, you know, you could do the tentacles too. That's kind of weird and funky, and people just, I don't know, they don't know what to do about that. They're like, I don't know about this guy. So thanks for that redeem, Rob. You're awesome. You both are awesome. I'm just glad that you're here. Okay. Um, okay. Let's see. Gonna go to work now. Glad to. Okay, cool. My buddy Jared, the guy who's we're brewing beer for, he just yeah, he just wanted to say hi. So anyways, there's that. Life hack number 17, make space. Make space. Okay, we're gonna move to the next segment, which is Vorlaufing and all that other good stuff. I just realized I had music that was supposed to be playing in the background and it wasn't even playing. I don't know. I'm trying to make it. How loud is it? I'm supposed to like fill in the space, you know, because I can't always talk. Can you guys hear? Maybe you can't. I don't care. I don't need it that loud. Okay. Oh, I totally got rid of the YouTube channel. Darn it. Sorry. Let me check one thing. I need to make sure that nobody is chatting away on my channel. Because I got to make sure that the people on we're live. Let's see. Looks like somebody's still watching. My buddy Jared. So, okay, cool. I got it's weird kind of doing YouTube and yeah. Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So, what was I going to say? It's kind of weird when I do YouTube and Twitch because I have to go back and forth between both of them. One of these days, when I become like a major Twitch host, never gonna happen. But you know, gotta have some dreams, something to shoot for, right? Um, uh, gosh, anyways, we're gonna Vorlauf now, okay? Basically what we're gonna do with Vorlaufing is you're just recirculating the wort. I said it wrong. Bad brewer. Wort. We recirculate the wort back through the grain bed, and we're gonna use the grain bed as a natural filter, okay? Okay, let's do this thing, shall we? Okay. Let me bring this over. Oh no. Oh no, no. Also, I gotta test the temperature of my computer. Hold on. Okay, it's time to replace the, I have this gel. Oh, I think it's got a hole in it actually. Perfect. But anyways, I'm replacing the gel packs with, I'm using them to help keep my computer cold because it's so dang hot today. We gotta make sure. Hold the phone. I got some goo on the bottom of my computer. Ew. Sick, dude. Oh, sick. So sick. All right. So, helps keep the computer cold. It's 102 outside. I need one of these like somewhere else. Anyways, there we go. You can't, good thing you're not like looking through my computer, because if you were looking through my computer, it'd be like, yeah, anyways. Reconvene, Austin, reconvene. Whoa. All right, so Vorlauf time. Boom. You guys, I one of these days I would love to have everybody come brew with me. We'll do it kind of like Star Brew Day, because Swine Hunter was here. Rob, we need to get you out here at one point. We need to get everybody out here at one point. It's Dano. That's the other guy. Sorry, Dano. If you ever watch this, dude, I miss seeing you. It's been a while, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope Britain's treating you well. Hopefully you're hanging out in some sweet pubs. So anyways, what I'm really excited about is I got some really long cords. So I don't have to worry about ducking under stuff anymore. That's so sweet. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna, let's see, is this one on? It is not on. Give me 1 second. Adding some extra chords to this thing. What I do, I add more complexity to all my stuff. That's freaking hot. Wow, that's gotta cool down. It's gotta cool down, that's all I know. Everything is hot. Electronics are hot. Or actually, let's do this. There we go. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I just need to make sure that everything's cool. I'm not doing it inside, obviously, so. Okay. Lights. Okay. We're gonna do this. Give me 1 second. I need to give you guys all a great view. The best view. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh. Oh no. Oh no. You guys can still hear me, right? I don't know why the camera stopped. Could be because it got too hot. Oh no. Of course. Let's try this. Sorry, guys. Um. Woo! I made it work. That was a close call. Woo! I almost made it. I almost lost it. Okay, you guys can see this stuff. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do the thing. Here we go. Boom. Okay, we're going to do this thing. We're gonna Vorlauf. Oh no. Let's do this. There we go. Okay. Okay, sweet. Okay. And you switch the cameras. Yes, I do. Okay, so you guys, it smells so freaking good. You guys have no idea. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something called Vorlaufing. Okay, we're gonna recirculate the wort back through the grain bed before we rinse it down into the boiling pot. So we're gonna open the valve slowly, and we're gonna pull a little bit of beer. Okay, wort, not beer, wort. Okay, so I'll show you the first batch. I think you can kind of see it a little bit right here. There's a little bit of wort coming out. We're doing it nice and slow. We don't want to do it fast, because if you do it fast, what ends up happening is you create these channels in the grain bed, and then you're not getting a full, efficient rinse of the grains. Man, it feels so good to be brewing again. I missed you guys so much. Like, I didn't. It's funny because it's like I've never met you in person, but I really enjoy you guys. It's fun to just have you all here. So thanks for being here. I know it's been a long time, but I appreciate y'all showing up. Okay, so here's what it looks like. It's kind of hazy, as you can tell, but the color is beautiful, right? So we're gonna just take this, and we're just going to slowly pour it back on the grain bed. Try not to splash it too much, because what can happen, although I've read a little bit on different forums, some people say it's a big deal, some people say it's not a big deal, because you don't really want to have a whole lot of oxygen content in your beer. So like when we pour, once the boil is done, we can add a lot of oxygen by causing a huge amount of like disturbance when we pour it in the fermenter. We want that oxygen there because the yeast needs the oxygen. But I've seen some things say, yeah, you should be careful not to splash in the grain bed because it could cause your beer to be stale. And then I've seen other people say it's not that big of a deal. It's more of a big deal when it comes time to bottle. You don't want it to have oxygen. So really the only time you want to add oxygen or have splashing is when you're adding the beer to the fermenter, and then right before the ferment, right? Okay, so you can see it's still a little hazy. Mostly it's because of the sugars, but there's still a little bit of particulate hanging out around there. So we're gonna, again, use the grain bed as a filter. We're gonna do this like 3 or 4 times until we get less and less, right? We want to have as little pot as possible into the boil pot. Reason being, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, honestly, because a lot of that grain in particular, it's going to sink to the bottom, and when we add that fining tablet, that Werflock tablet, that's going to collect the residual stuff, residual particulate. It's going to collect it and turn it into coagulation of proteins and hop particulate and grain particulate. It's going to sink to the bottom, and it'll just be at the bottom of the fermenter anyways. So really not that big of a deal. Okay, this time it's cleaner. There's still some particulate, but we want it to be as clean as possible. And I'm just pulling like a half pitcher out. Again, the color is just beautiful, right? And I think the color is going to be more closely similar to the Modelo than the last batch, but the last batch, the color is still beautiful. I'm gonna do it one more time, and this is when I'm gonna take my own version of what I call the angel share. It's not true angel share. Angel share, when you think about it or hear about it, it is more related to distilling beer, distilling liquor, and it's the pure ethanol that comes out during that process, and that's called the angel share because you can't drink it. If you drink the pure ethanol, you will lose your eyesight and other bad things. This I like to call the angel share because it's the first share of the beer wort. Sorry, I keep saying that interchangeably. It's the first taste of what the beer was going to taste like. And this part's one of my favorites because it's so sweet, you guys. It is so sweet. It tastes like sweet grain tea. Doesn't sound like it would be good, but it is really freaking amazing. And if Rebella's watching, which she probably isn't, but if she is, she'll be out here momentarily when I pour this cup because she always, when she does watch, she always comes out to taste this because it's that good. All right, that's really good. That's pretty dang clear. I don't know if you guys can see it. I guess to your perspective, it's still pretty hazy, but it's much, much better. So let's get a sample of this. Let's get a side view. I like the dogs. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go back to this stream. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, almost catastrophic. All right, so I'm gonna use my little cup. So here's the side view of that beer from the Werflock, or not Werflock. Golly, come on, Austin. From the Vorlauf. They all have similar names, you know. But look at that color. It's beautiful. We're gonna taste it right now. Oh. Wow. Wow. That's really good. So I'm gonna pour this back in. So this is the Vorlauf process. So you now know what Vorlaufing is. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. It has got such a clean flavor. It's like a clean, sweet flavor. It's so light, so good. Okay, cool. Now time for the Vorlaufing. We're gonna Vorlauf. All right. Okie dokie. Basically, not Vorlaufing. Golly, it's the sparge. Come on, y'all. You gotta keep me honest. It's really good. It's really sweet. It's really simple. It's fantastic. The flavor is so good. I'm glad I changed up the grains because I think last time I did only Cara Munich malt, and I wanted to have a little bit more complexity. That's where I added the Munich malt. It's a little bit lighter in color, but it's going to add a little bit more depth to it because I feel like this Mexican lager, if I were to explain it, it's like two-dimensional. It could use more flavor. So that's why I wanted to add that. Okay, so here we are, getting ready to sparge. And the sparge is basically we're just going to shower the grains with moisture. When I say moisture, I mean water. You guys have to do a lot of like puzzle. You got to fit all the pieces. You're like, what is Austin trying to say? I have no idea what he's trying to say. He said Vorlauf 1 minute, then he said sparge the next minute. They went back to beer and wort and salt and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, okay. Now we are getting to the sparging process. We got our hot liquor tank, our hot water, which is basically the same temperature as the grain in this grain bed. We're going to rinse it off, and we want the water flowing from this liquor tank to match the amount of flow rate that's going from the mash tun to the boil pot. Okay, understandable? Okay, cool. So I always open the bottom first and get this thing rolling because it's also going to give me a good idea of how much needs to be going into the mash. And this should take about 20 to 40 minutes, honestly. So you just want to match it. It's not a whole lot that's happening, but it needs to match it. And here I am splashing around. This is why I don't think that making a splash in the grain bed is that big of a deal, because I had one person say it one time, and I've never had any issues with it in the past. But I want to get a nice shower of water on the entire grain bed, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture all the color, all the flavor, and all the sugar as we can. And we want this flow rate to match what's going into the boil pot. Again, 20 to 40 minutes depending. I don't know how they do it on a large scale, but I'm hoping at some point in time I'll get to increase my scale. I need to talk to Dr. Hoppenstein again, because he had a 10-gallon system that I was going to get from him. I just got to get it shipped out here. So Dr. Hoppenstein, if you're on, or if you jump on at a later time, I haven't forgotten. I'll take that off your hands and we'll make it happen. So you can see that there's now like a layer of water on top. So at this point, it could be going a little too slow down below. So I'm just going to increase the flow rate. Whoa, it's a rat. There was a rat. Wow, I didn't know rats came out during the day. Ratatouille. Ratatouille 3, beer brewer. Okay, so there's still a little bit more water in here than there is grain, so I'm going to increase the flow rate down lower. Okay, I see, Tion, that you have a question or something. Good? That's not enough. Explain it in the why that we get in the... Okay, okay. A good point. I'm sorry. Thanks for keeping me honest, Tion. I really appreciate that. Okay, so for this, okay, I know you always look for the smell as well as the flavor. So, it smells really sweet and it smells grainy. The best way to explain the grainy smell is if you imagine like a wheat field on the evening of a summer day, and it has like kind of like that damp hay smell. It's kind of what it smells like. And then add a little bit of sweetness to it. Okay. And man, it is so sweet. But it's not like an overly sweet. It's it's not overly sweet. It's kind of like a light sweetness, like a light honey almost. It kind of tastes like honey, honestly. And then you get that bready, biscuity, grainy flavor on the back end, but it's not like overpowering. It's really, really a pleasant flavor. So, I hope that works. For those of you who are just jumping on, we are doing a process called sparging, and we're now moving the beer, which is not beer. It won't be beer until it's done fermenting, but it's called wort, which is basically a sweet tea. We've steeped grains in a mash tun for a short amount of time. And when I say short, it's a long amount of time. It's like 60 minutes-ish. And now we're just rinsing it off with hot water, and we're moving it into the boil pot. And what we're going to do here in a second is we're actually going to start turning the fire so we can start heating up that pot, because we want to make it efficient, right? We want to be not wasting time. So since it's a small amount, it'll heat up a little bit faster. Once we get to the boil, we're going to add the hops. And I'll show you, I just realized one thing I forgot. We've got these hops, this feels a little bit more than 1 ounce, which is fine. It's not the end of the world if it's more than 1 ounce, because the thing with these hops is I'm going to be putting in, I need to do 1 ounce, and I need to do 1 ounce and 20. Okay, hold on 1 second. I got to think for a second, because the beer that I did, it seemed pretty good. Okay. Rubella, if you're watching and you want to try this, maybe I should text you, because you're probably not watching. Let's do this. Rubella might be out here in a minute, because I want her to try this before I'm done. Whoa, okay. So I'm glad I looked, because right now the flow rate is greater on the bottom than it is on top, so I had to increase it. The thing you need to pay attention to is you don't want the flow rate down below to be faster than the one on top, because the one that's below, if that's the case, the grain bed could actually compress, and then you get something called a stuck mash. And I've never had that, knock on wood, but you don't want that to happen, because it's a pain in the butt, and it basically clogs the up the system, and you don't get any beer. Okay, I might have turned it up too fast now. So it's just a matter of going back and forth, trying to get the right amount. We got like 2.5 gallons in there right now, so we're getting pretty close. We'll see if Rubella comes out. Oh, she's coming out. You get to see her belly. She should be out here any minute. We'll get her view. And then I got to try the Mexican lager one more time, because I got to make sure that that I get the right amount of hops in. I did not think that through, because I didn't get any muslin bags. Well, I guess I could use this. That might work. Thought I had some just chilling somewhere, but it looks like I don't. Maybe I'll use this. So I got this bag, and I might use this instead, just because I don't want to have to filter out all the hops. Here is the lady of the hour, Rubella. Oh, sorry, I put that in the wrong place. It was full, and it was on the trash can. Okay, here's Rubella. Pre-baby. Here she is. Let's check out. Yeah. Yep. Only a couple more weeks. Yep. All right, so I wanted you to try the here you go. Yeah. So.
Yum.
You should probably explain it, because I guess I was doing a bad.
Like cereal. I mean, they always do.
What kind of cereal?
Grape nuts.
Oh, grape nuts. Okay.
It always smells like grape nuts.
Okay. Grape nuts. I was saying it smelled kind of like corn pops.
Yeah. It does smell like corn pops.
Smells like corn pops. That's funny.
Really sweet.
Yeah. It's good.
Which one is this?
This is the Mexican lager.
Yeah.
For Gerald's wedding.
It's very sweet.
Okay, I do need to start this up. Trying to figure out.
I taste the corn for sure.
Yeah.
Corny.
How corny.
I like the pickle over here.
Yeah, you can see it. Yep.
Yeah. The smooth. Gonna be corny.
Corny. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Gonna have
Okay.
a lot of alcohol content because of the sugar.
Yeah, I know. And I did it right this time. I got 146 instead of 150,
Oh yeah, that's right.
which is great. That's the goal, right? That's the goal. I'm gonna redeem my own hydrate. Accuracy. It's all about being accurate. Accurate.
There's butter in here.
I did rearrange slightly. We gotta get rid of some more stuff, but it'll be good. I gotta make sure I've got room in that ferment, the kegerator. All right. Okay, so those of you who are new to this Twitch channel, we're brewing beer today. We're making a Mexican lager. If you like beer, you want to see beer reviews or how beer is made, all the different styles and varieties, this is the channel for you. We're making the Mexican lager. I'm going to take a quick taste of it because I got to determine how many of the hops I'm going to use. Because I said I was going to increase it, but it actually tasted bitter enough that I may not need to change anything up at all. Okay, we're at 4 gallons. We need 3 more gallons before we are ready. We need to only have 7 gallons because we're going to get a boil off rate of about 1 gallon an hour, give or take. And so we're going to have a total of 5 gallons going into the fermenter. We're going to add the yeast, stick it in the kegerator, call it a day. But when I cool it, that's the most boring part. I probably won't have you guys stay here unless you guys want to be here or you have questions. But anyways, let me try this real quick. Anyways, yeah, we do beer. Here, I'll show you guys what my beer fridge looks like. I think I got room. I got cord enough. Here's my kegs. Here's all the beers. Those Mexican lager, IPA, and then some more beers down here. Walnuts and hops. So that's my beer fridge. So thanks. This is going to be the Mexican lager. Like I said, I'm just taking a small amount because this Mexican lager is destined to do great things in the world, specifically the local world here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We're going to sell, well, we're not going to sell the beer, but we're going to raise money for the local charities here in Salt Lake. But there's the beer. Oh, I just realized that this is same. So I feel like yeah, I don't know if I should add more hops. Might be bitter enough. I'm gonna stick with 1 ounce, I think. So that's what we're gonna stick with. And the fun thing about this is these are whole hops, which is fun because these are from my parents' property in Oregon, and they are really, really good. It's Cascade hops. I actually don't know what the alpha acid is, so it seems to be like 5% alpha acid, maybe 6%, something along that line. So basically, I'm just gonna throw these in. Now, if you're using whole hops, I highly recommend that you use a muslin bag if you've got one. I ran out. I don't know how. I could use this other bag, but maybe I just get a strainer when I pour it in and then I capture the hops. Because I did have a moment when I made my stout, the one that won the gold medal. I had an issue with it. The issue was this. I didn't get all the hop flour out, and it plugged the bung hole, and the CO2 couldn't escape. And in the middle of the night, the thing freaking exploded everywhere. And since it was stout, it looked like somebody had explosive diarrhea and just shot it all over the room. It was on the ceiling, it was on the fan, on the bookshelf, all over the walls, all over the floor, and it was just like this massive volcanic cone of dead yeast bodies and CO2 and stuff. It was just nasty. and it took forever to clean up. So there's that. So if you use hop flowers, use a muslin bag or some sort of way to capture it. It'll help a lot. My lights just died. I don't know if they're getting too hot or what. Whatever. So if you notice the back, it's a little less bright. Okay, we're at 6 gallons. We're almost done with the water here. And we're at 160 degrees. The hops that we're going to add, they're going to be for bittering only. Okay, so Tian, Rob, or whoever's on right now, who are the normal followers, do you guys recall me doing a beer review of my Irish coffee ale? If yes, then I'm not gonna do that one. I've got a bunch of other ones from Shiner Bach. That's where this brand is from. Up, Shiner beer. It's in Texas, and that last time Swine Hunter came by, he dropped off a whole bunch of Shiner beer. So I might as well do a beer review on those. Okay, I gotta do something real fast. So you all let me know. And then I'll pull out a couple, and then we'll figure out which ones we want to try. All right, so we're gonna dump this water out. Let this start cooling down. Whew, it's hot in here, y'all. It's so hot. Sure, but a good review. Okay. Yeah, it's Tian. As you wish. Okay, so sure, that's also not a good answer. So do you coffee ale? Did I do the Irish coffee ale review? If yes, then I won't do that one. If no, then I'll do that one. Or I can drink and taste or beer review one of the Shiner beers from Shiner Beer in Texas. So since you're the one that answered, I'll let you choose or tell me what I've done, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And then I'll be right back because I'm going to go dump out this water real fast. Oh, I guess I need this to cool the beer down at some point in time. Okay, you don't remember the coffee beer? Okay, I'll do that one then. Totally cool. All right. So now I'm gonna do a little bit more than normal. Why, you may ask? Just because if I have extra beer, I might actually turn it in. Whew. Okay. Oh man, it's hot. So hot. I think we're hitting the record temperature for today. Okay. Smell, texture, feeling on the tongue, taste, etc. It's been a while. Okay. All right. We're gonna do it then. Let's do the beer review of the coffee beer. I call it the Irish coffee. Well, it is an Irish coffee ale, but we're naming it the Quiet Irish because we used my buddy's coffee beans from Hush Hush Coffee in it. He came up with the name, so the Quiet Irish. The goal for this beer was to make a beer that tastes just like an Irish coffee. One thing that I would change on it, that I know for sure, will be it's the coffee flavor is really strong. I would make it a little less. Honestly, maybe one of the streams I do in the next near future, we'll just do an Irish coffee. That's one of the things we'll do. Do a cocktail. We'll try that maybe even next to this one and see. But I'm pretty sure an Irish coffee, it should taste a little like coffee, but it should be pretty plain. Okay. I think I'm going to just dump my hops in, not use this bag, because this is more for like, I guess I could use it. I don't know. I'm just going to put the hops in. Woo, you guys, it's hot. It's so hot. So hot. I think this is the right one. We shall see. Okay. This is the coffee ale. Oh yeah, this is the coffee ale. I can already smell it. Here we go with the Quiet Irish. It's great because I was actually shooting for an amber color beer, and looks a little dark, but here, let me do this so you could actually see the color. Can you guys see the color? Yeah, so that's the color. It's nice and amber in color, a little hazy, but overall beautiful, kind of like reddish color. I was trying to use an Irish red base for the beer, and then I added some lactose sugar to it to make it smooth and creamy and sweet, and then I added oak chips that had soaked in Jameson whiskey for about 2.5 weeks. So I added the oak chips as well as the Jameson whiskey, so the oak chips kind of give it kind of that oaky, barrel-aged kind of flavor, but also adds a little bit of vanilla to it. And then you could taste the Jameson whiskey, and then I added the coffee, of course. All right, let's start with the flavor, or the aroma. So I can definitely smell the coffee. Really, really strong coffee. And I can smell the oak. That's about it. That's all I can smell. In terms of the flavor, strong, very, very strong on the coffee. Still pleasant. And then as the coffee flavor kind of subsides, then we start to bleed into that oak, vanilla, whiskey flavor. And the whiskey flavor is pretty strong. It actually is really good in terms of, yeah, it's really strong on the whiskey flavor. It's actually really good. I haven't had this in, actually, I don't think I've had this for at least a couple months. And since it's been a few months, it's already conditioned quite nicely. So it's got a cleaner feel. It's also a little bit sweet and creamy, which is that lactose, right? Because with an Irish coffee, you do Irish whiskey, Irish cream, and coffee, and maybe cinnamon. I don't know, but I don't add cinnamon. Oh man, it's so freaking good. So freaking good. Oh no, I had a bug fly into my beer. Gross. Good thing it's gonna get sterilized. Instant death. All right, let me get this these hops ready to go. We're gonna stick with 1 ounce of hops. I don't really want to do 1.5 because I think it's gonna be too overpowering. we're gonna add the lime to it as well. So I think that should work out just fine. And I'm sorry if there's anybody on YouTube. Okay, nobody's on YouTube. Totally fine. If anybody has any ideas on how to penetrate the YouTube market, I would love to have some ideas, because obviously YouTube is different than Twitch, and there's a lot of people who brew beer on YouTube. I don't know how many people actually do the live thing, so I might be the only one that would do live stuff, but oh, you know what? Now that I'm brewing again, I miss the smells and the flavors and everything. If my room could smell like this all the time, you guys. I need to do another beer too, also. Oh, dude, I need to bring one to you, Rob. I could have sworn I brought you an Irish coffee, but it's going to be a while before I can bring you one of those. I'll save one for you. And then when I have a Baltimore overnight again, I'm going to call you up. We're going to try some of that. Hopefully I'll have some more beers to share with you. Like the Pilsner, the German Pilsner. You got to try that. Yeah, you're going to have to try that. I also found out yesterday that there is a beer competition, and I don't have any beers ready to go. So it's really sad. I think I might be able to find a couple, but I have no idea. We'll see. Because I feel like if I can, I don't know. I don't think this one is going to win. It was a spicy habanero amber ale. It's really good. I could turn it in and see, but I don't know. Anyways, okay. Well, it's going to be a while, probably October, before I'm out there again. Just fair warning. But when I come out, since you're the only person next to Dr. Hoppenstein that I can really get to, yeah, you guys can try them. Actually, one of my goals is to go see Dr. Hoppenstein's brewery, and we'll do a stream with him. Asking for a friend. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. You came at a great time. Our beer is just about to begin boiling. And we are also doing a quick beer review. So I hope that works out well. So we're heating the beer up. It's going to start boiling here before too long. And then we're going to add our hops. I don't know if you can see that very well. These are whole flower hops. Oh, hey, where do you live then? If you're coming to the USA, I'm super curious. And are you coming for work or for fun? Oh, you're from Canada. Okay, cool. Right on. Hey, you know what? Asking for a friend, I have some good news for you. And the good news is you are the very first person from Canada to jump on this channel. Woo! That's awesome. Cheers to Canada. And cheers to asking for a friend. Thank you so much for jumping on. This is the Speakeasy Brewer. We brew beer. We do beer reviews. And yeah, that's kind of what we do here. So you jumped on at a great time. It's so good to have you. If you're interested in the brewing process, or just enjoy beer and good conversation and fun times, this is the channel for you. We just have a lot of fun. And obviously Tion is awesome for welcoming you right away. So welcome, and hope you jump on more. I have a kid on the way, so I might be on a little less, probably brewing less for sure, but I'm going to try and do some beer review videos and do some deeper dives on some of the topics involved in the brewing process. So please, if you have any questions, please ask away, and please follow. It'd be awesome. None of it. Makes flights to the rest of Canada. Oh, cool. Awesome. I love it. Well, so where in the US are you coming to visit? I'm curious. And are you here for work or for fun? And again, thanks for jumping on. Alaska. Okay, Alaska layover. And then are you going to Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho, Utah? It'd be funny if you're coming to Utah, because if you're coming to Utah, then you will be coming to my tromping grounds. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So you're going to Alaska, then back to Canada. Okay, cool. You know, I've never been to Canada. It's on my bucket list. I want to go 2 times in 1 year, one in the middle of summer so I can have the 24 hours of sun just to see what that's like. And then I want to go again in the winter and do 24 hours of darkness. Although that sounds scary, because that sounds like if vampires did exist, Alaska or anywhere in the north would be like the place to be, you know? Because then you don't die from the sun. But down here we got garlic and the sun, so, you know, all that cool stuff. Anyways, well, hey, thanks for jumping on. It's so awesome to have you. Again, if you enjoy the beer brewing process or want to learn more about it, this is a channel for you. This is what we do. And then Rob with 2 B's, who's a good friend of mine and one of the followers, he and I were doing we did a civilization game tournament where we were challenging each other. It was just one-on-one. We're going to do part 2 here before too long. And that was also a fundraiser stream. So we were fundraising for the local I think he was doing a food bank in his locale. And then for me, I was doing the Volunteers of America for Utah, because I actually volunteered with them, and I was like, that's what I was fundraising for. So he and I were doing that together. So if you like games, that's one thing we'll do at some point in time, but mostly I do beer. Yeah, the art, I know. It's a lot of time. I mean, 24 hours of darkness would be crazy. Have you experienced that? Because you're kind of close to that, right? Fairly close. I'm trying to think of none of it. That's far right side, right? And then you have Quebec. I think none of it. I don't even know if that's how I say it, because I played Risk. And I think none of it was one of them. Okay, so yeah, so there's Quebec, Greenland, none of it. Okay, cool. And I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Like the first time I went to Regina, I thought it was Regina. And then when they told me, I was like, interesting. I didn't know. But I love Canada. I've been to Vancouver, BC. I've been to Calgary, Saskatoon, beautiful. I think I was in Montreal once. And then I went to Regina too, also. And I was there. I'm a pilot, so I've been up to Canada a lot for flying with work. And then I also went up there and I picked up a small plane and brought it back to the US for a client, which was a lot of fun. We picked up this tiny little, what was it? A Kodiak Zenith, a Zenith Kodiak 650. Brought it, and it was just outside of Regina. Gosh, what was the name of that town? Anyways, we brought it back to the US, and it only flew like 90 miles an hour, and it took us like 5 days to get back to where we started off from. 25. Wow. Yeah, you guys, you have a lot of space up there. That's one thing that I've noticed. Okay, we're almost to the boil. I got to pause on the conversations for a short bit. So Sorry, just give me 1 second. Where are my bare hands? The big thing about brewing is you're always dealing with hot items. So when you're dealing with hot items, just remember to use your bare hands, okay? So I'm gonna swap you guys over so you can see what the boil process looks like. So here we go. We're getting ready to get to the boil. Now, if you're gonna do home brewing at any point in time, like you could blow on it. One thing to pay attention to is the potential for boil over. Okay, so what we're brewing here, this is not beer yet. It won't be beer until it's done with the fermentation process. But what we have here is what we call wort, W-O-R-T, not pronounced wort, but wort. If it was like an E, wort is how you pronounce it. And you'll see it's starting to foam a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat down just a tad. You can blow on it because whatever is in your mouth, it's a bacteria, virus, or whatever, it's not going to live in here because it's boiling. So I always recommend using gas. If you don't have gas to make beer, that's totally fine. You don't need gas to make beer. You can use an electric stove, but gas is better. It's a faster turn off should you get to boil over, because you see this foam that's kind of coming over up to the top. If it boils over, it is a nasty mess to deal with. You'll notice also that the boiling is happening on one side and not the entirety of it, and that's by my planning, okay? We want a nice rolling boil like this, and then we're gonna add the hops in. Okay, so for those of you who've been with me the entire time, we're going to be adding our hops now at the beginning of the boil, which is gonna be for 60 minutes. So I'm gonna set a timer, and it's gonna boil for a full hour. And if it's like this, we want it to be a nice rolling boil so that there's like this convection that's happening. And that's gonna cause the hops to kind of like rotate through the entirety of the beer. Obviously these bad boys are dry, so it's gonna take a little bit of time for them to moisten up and sink to the bottom. So these are whole hop flowers. Normally I use hop pellets. These hop flowers are actually from my parents' property, and they're cascade hops. So they're about like 5 to 6% alpha acid. So it's gonna add kind of like a medium bitterness. I think for our, beer, the hop bitterness that we're gonna be getting is about 19. It'll probably be more like 12% IBUs. Because again, what we're brewing today is a Mexican lager. So timer's set, that's going in. The only other thing we're gonna add today, now that you can see the boil, I'm less exciting. But what we're gonna add today is we're going to add 2 more things to the boil, actually 3 more things. The first thing we're gonna add is lime peel. I don't know if you can see that very well. Lime peel. That's gonna add the lime flavor to the beer. And then the next thing we're gonna add is Werflock tablets. And a Werflock tablet is a fining agent. You put that in your beer and it has Irish moss and a few other things. It gets gelatinous in the boil and it collects all the hop particulate as well as grain particulate and any loose proteins. And it's gonna collect them all into like a gelatinous blob, and it's gonna sink to the bottom of the beer. The last thing we're gonna add is a wort chiller, which I'll show you real quickly. This wort chiller is exactly what it's designed to do, is to chill the beer, right? Well, it's called wort chiller, right? Because we have wort. It's not beer until fermentation is done. This is what it looks like. Cold water goes in one end, and it goes out hot. It basically takes the heat away. We're going to use cold water. So I've got, I'm going to be putting some cold tap water into this container. We're going to add some ice. You want a large temperature difference to cool the beer down faster. Once it gets down to about room temperature, that's when we're going to move it from the pot into the fermenter. and then we're going to add the yeast, and then we're going to stick it into well, my kegerator today, and that's where it's going to stay until it's done fermenting. I'm putting it in the kegerator today just because I need to have temperature control. And this particular yeast, if let me show you guys real fast. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Welcome to my channel. This is what we do often. Okay, so anyways, here's our lager yeast. Min temperature and max temperature. 50 degrees in min, max temperature is 55. Okay, so that's what we're looking for in terms of temperature control. Okay, now when you're brewing beer, and especially when it's fermentation, the most important thing is temperature control. If it gets too hot, you will get off flavors depending on the yeast that you use. So if I went to like 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, this beer is going to be ruined because the yeast will not operate at its max potential at those temperatures, and it's going to start producing things like banana flavor, burnt Band-Aid flavor, maybe like a really astringent alcohol. It's going to start giving me diacetyls, so off flavors, gross things, right? Whereas when it's in the proper format, it's going to give you phenols, which are more fruity, citrusy flavors, that kind of thing. So we need to make sure that the temperature is right on. If it gets too cold, the yeast will go dormant and it won't ferment. So we got to do it right at the right temperature. So my kegerator is great because the kegerator can maintain a temperature between 5 degrees, and that'll be the best option for it. So we're going to stick it right in that kegerator, and it'll stay there the entirety of the fermentation. So there's that. Okay, so we did talk about a little bit about attenuation versus flocculation. Okay, so attenuation is when you're talking about yeast. Attenuation is the efficiency of the yeast eating the sugars to produce alcohol and CO2. Okay, so you want an attenuation that's 70% or higher. That means it's a 70% efficiency or higher. Some of that is dependent on how efficient your mash was. If your mash wasn't very efficient, then that means that the attenuation. So if your efficiency on your mash was 70% and then you have an attenuation of 70%, you could have a little bit of margin of error where it's going to be more like 65% efficiency overall, and you're not going to get as good of a beer. So you want to make sure that your mash is as efficient as can be, and that efficiency is dependent on the crush of your grain, as well as whether the grain's mixed up enough in the water and whether it's the right temperature to get the sugar amount that you want, and then obviously the yeast. And here's another thing to improve your efficiency with yeast. To improve your efficiency with yeast, I highly recommend doing a yeast starter. Yeast starter will take the yeast that you get from your packet, which is usually no less than 100 billion yeast cells, takes that yeast and it doubles it overnight with a yeast starter. You basically make a mini beer using dry malt extract, which is a powder. You do 2 cups of water to a half cup of dry malt extract, or DME. You boil it for 10 minutes and then you cool it down to room temperature. You add your yeast and then you put it on a stir plate and you let it propagate, and then you'll get usually double the amount of yeast that way. And if you do it that way, you're going to have a more efficient, faster fermentation. Okay, so that's what you get with attenuation. It's the total efficiency of the yeast eating the sugars. And then you have flocculation. So during the ferment, if you have been following my channel for a while, I've shown you lots of pictures of the fermentation. At the top of the fermentation, there's this massive pile of bubbles and foam and all this other stuff. And that's like dead yeast bodies, yeast poop, all this other stuff. gross stuff, right? It looks gross, but it's making beer, so it's amazing. So during the fermentation process, that's what you see on top. When the fermentation process is done, that stuff falls out and it falls to the bottom, and that's where flocculation comes in. You have low, medium, and high flocculation. High flocculation means as soon as it's done fermenting, boom, all that stuff sinks to the bottom. Medium flocculation basically says that when it's done fermenting, there's not going to be a ton of floaters, but there'll be some floaters. The rest of it will sink down. And then low flocculation means there's going to be a lot of floaters, and the rest of it will sink down. So that's the difference between flocculation, attenuation, in terms of yeast, and fermentation. Okay. Also, sorry, asking for a friend. I do canning deal with hot jars and water. Sorry, I missed that lot. That was a while ago. I apologize if I missed it for so long. That's awesome. Canning is huge. We try to can as much as we can, but that is also dependent on the efficiency of our garden, which right now it's been hotter than Hades here in Utah, so it's just it's hot, so everything's just not going as well in terms of. We have tomatoes, a handful of tomatoes, and we're growing some corn. Our pumpkins are doing really well. The hops are okay. We have some peaches too that are doing okay, but you know how that goes. All right, I'm gonna move this real quick. It's not really doing anything. So asking for a friend, do you have any questions about what you're seeing here? And then for those of you who are new to my channel, if you like what you see and you're interested in beer, please follow along. Come with questions. Bring your friends if you think they like beer or cocktails or any of that stuff, because we're going to do it all. And I'm going to be doing a little less just because I've got a baby on the way. So I'll probably be brewing here in another week or two. Literally a week or two. So if I do it in a couple weeks and my kid hasn't come, I'll be lively like a bunny rabbit like I am right now. If my kid has come, I'm going to be dragging hiney. I'm going to be a little tired, might not be able to talk very well, but that's what's going to happen. So just be ready for that. But I have to brew the next beer too because it's also for my friend's wedding. That'll be our IPA. So there's that. So that coffee beer is so good. You check. This is my buddy who's getting married, or got married, and this beer is for him. He's at work, so he has to focus on the work stuff. You know what? And actually, I'm going to do a refill on water and take a quick bathroom break. Since Swine Hunter is not here to carry the load, I'm just going to give you this beautiful view of the hops boiling and the beer boiling, and then when I get back, we'll continue. So, BRB. one thing I have to say is, man, it smells good when you brew beer. At some point in time, definitely gonna start a brewery. My backup plan, in case the flying thing doesn't work out for whatever reason. Hopefully it works out. I always eat on the channel too at some point in time. And it's almost 2 o'clock. I'm going to take the charger out and let it cool off a little bit. Yeah. It is hot right now. Bloody hot. Let's see. We've been going for 2 hours, 3 hours. We have about 1 more hour to go. We'll be done about 3. Well, it'll be less. 3:30 is when we should be done. 3:40 most likely. So 3:40 Mountain Time. One silly question: is it like boiling noodles, boiling over? Yes, it is 100%. Because think about the noodles. What's in noodles when you boil it, right? There's starch in it. So noodles are starch. So those starches kind of get activated with yeah. So it happens with rice, potatoes, noodles. It happens with all of those, right? So you have to turn the heat down, and then turn it back on, or turn it back up to where you want it to get the boil going. And those are the starches from the noodles that are kind of being activated. Now the difference is beer has more sugar content than would noodles or rice or potatoes, because again, those are starches. Starches are another form of sugar, or get broken down into sugar eventually. So yeah, same sort of thing. Exactly. Very, very good point. 100%. Very astute of you, Tion. Very astute. Man, it is so hot, y'all. Feels like a dang sauna in here. Back, I'm gonna open a window just to get airflow. Oh man. Yeah. I know, I'm eating Cheez-Its right now. Not very healthy. But I saw them and they're delicious. And I think I'm craving salt because it's so hot. I'm just sweating all the salt out. Now let's see what temperature it is. We're supposed to get to like 104. Of course, I'd choose the hottest day. It's 100 out right now. So in here, I'm going to guess it's about at least 104 or something. Let's find out. Where's my thermometer? Let's see how hot. It says 97. That's not too bad. Keep it pretty cool. That wood in general. Let's see. Up here, it's 120. It's about 110 in here. That's crazy. At least all the surfaces. Let's see. 104, 105, 108. Even this AC fan that's blowing, it's cooling things down by like 5 degrees. So it's like 101 right now. I'm gonna take my hat off. Woo! We need like a mister or something. They're saying that we also might get some thunderstorms later, which is my favorite. I love thunderstorms. How hot is it right now in Germany or Baltimore or even Canada? I'm imagining Canada's got to be at least 70 right now, right? At least. Sorry, I keep looking down here. I should look up here. Hmm. Yeah. Hot. Whew. Mm. Yeah, I was in Baltimore last week, 2 weeks ago. It was hot. It was like 95 and like super humid. It was hot. I spent a lot of time in BWE, man. I fly over you a lot. I'll say that much. I have you marked down at least where I think you are, because you said you're right along the river. I think it was a river in Annapolis. So I just put you down on my so we have these special charts for flying. It's on my iPad, and I can make waypoints. So I put a waypoint that says Rob with two B's, and then I have a waypoint in Dallas, um, well, north of Dallas in a city called McKinney, which is where Swinehunter or Taylor lives, and then I have one for all the people, which is kind of fun. I have one for Dr. Hoppenstein too. So I'm flying around. I'm like, oh, Rob's down there somewhere, and Dr. Hoppenstein's down there somewhere, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's super cool. But dude, I fly in and out of Baltimore a ton. Um, just no overnights, but at least seems when I fly, the last few trips it's been once a day. So, although I think now that I think about it, last time I flew, we were landing east, so I didn't fly over you. But when we're landing west or northwest, we fly right over top of you. Nope. I'm done. I'm done until my paternity leaves up. I'm not gonna fly again because I don't want to miss um I don't want to miss the potential of my baby being born while I'm gone. So I have to be here for that. That's like the most important thing. I'll take a few months pay hit just so I can be here for it. Yeah. I wish, man. I wish it'd be fun. If you're ever flying out of BWE, you let me know. Especially if because I've got a lot of flexibility schedule wise um at Southwest. So if I happen to see that trip available, can't guarantee it, but if I see it available and you're flying, I will make sure the flight attendants take really good care of you. Yeah. Okay, cool. It would have been fun. It would have been fun. I would have totally had the flight attendant spoil her too. Um, yeah, it's been weird. Now that I've got this kid on the way, I've had all sorts of weird philosophical things happening inside, and one of the things is like I just don't want to miss anything, and so I want to work as little as possible because I realize like money isn't everything. I think it's nice to have enough to like cover the needs that you have, but then it's like there's that temptation to always want more, right? And I've realized that I don't want more. I don't need more. I just because I don't want to be constantly chasing after more when I have something so great right in front of me. So I've been very just like meditating on that idea of like how do I be home more, and part of that is obviously flying less so I could be home more. So that's what I've been thinking. That's what I've been thinking about. So um, I mean, it's tempting because I think I don't know if it's the same in Germany, Tion, or asking for a friend, if it's the same way in Canada. I know like inflation's high, and things cost more, and so the temptation is there to work more so you can have a little bit more to, you know, to cover your needs. But honestly, like, I feel like I don't need that much. I don't want to miss opportunities to be around friends or family. Money will not go with you to the grave. I'll tell you that much. Hopefully I have a very long life left, but if I don't want to waste it chasing money. And thus ends the philosophical conversation. Unless you guys have more ideas that are philosophical, because then we can talk about it. Beer and philosophy. I could say brewlosophy, but that's already been taken by the podcast Brewlosophy. You guys, Cheez-Its are so good, but so unhealthy. All right. I'm running out of things to say. And it's freaking hot. I'm going to stand in the front of the heater for a little bit. Or not heater, but AC. The fan, just anything. When it's hot, y'all, you got to stay up on the water. Beer doesn't do it, even though it's colder. Whew. So, Rob, I know you've been streaming, doing some stuff, working, and barbecuing a lot. So, that's awesome. Yeah. What else have you been up to? Have you done any, like, trips or anything to get anywhere? Tion, what have you been up to this summer? Obviously, you've got the baby, but did you have you gotten out to go do anything fun with you, your baby, and your hubby? Because I think you guys are the only ones that are on right now. Or maybe not. I don't know. That's cool. I went to Buffalo my first time this year in the middle of a snowstorm. It was bananas. But I've been looking for some overnights there so I can explore it, because I hear it's a really fun town. Oh yeah, the anime convention. All right, in terms of anime, I meant to ask this yesterday and I forgot, but what anime do you guys watch? I haven't seen all of Attack on Titan. I just saw whatever season was on. I think it was season 1 on Netflix when it was on. I need to see the rest of them on Hulu. I hear it gets weird. I saw One Punch Man. Big Sword Art Online fan. Big Sword Art Online. I think there might be another one coming out soon. What else have I seen? My brother told me I had to watch Naruto. I think that's what it was. The ninja one. And then obviously when I was growing up, it was all about Dragon Ball Z, so, and Pokemon. Yeah. One Punch Man was probably one of my favorite ones. I thought that was so awesome. It was fun to have a hero that was always mad that Like the battles were never epic. Seems so unusual, but I loved it. And Sword Art Online was just so cool. And with the advent of AI, I could see it becoming a thing. Okay, I've been watching season 1 of Naruto. Um, I'm just gonna keep going on because I hear it gets really intense. I thought that one was hilarious though when he's learned that one. I don't know if it's a spell or what it was, but when he turned into a bunch of like naked women to mix up his enemies, and they're like, "What?" That was pretty funny. Oh, okay, cool. That's another one my brother told me was really good. All right, I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna move this. Let's see. Move this down. We're gonna enjoy a beer chat. Oh yeah, of course, Cowboy Bebop. That's an amazing one. Okay, how's it look here? All right, looks like you can see me well enough. We're gonna finish off the German pills. And I'll have to come over here to check out. I watched it a long time ago, but I never like followed through with all of it, all of the episodes. It was kind of like whatever was on, I watched. My buddy was really into it. There was another one that was, gosh, I got to think of the name. My buddy and I watched it in college. We watched part of Cowboy Bebop, of course, in college, but gosh, I'll have to think about the name. And then there was this other one that I found on Netflix. I don't know if there's any more seasons of it, but it was, gosh, I can't even remember the name of that one. It was, I think there's only one season, and there was like that, there was like these different factions. Gosh, what was that called? Not integrity. Sexy ninjutsu. Okay, FLCL is also one of my favorites. I don't know about that one. And then I had some non-alcoholic beer for lunch. That was really good. Was it Athletic Brewing or was it another one? I know there's a handful of breweries doing it now. I haven't figured out how to do it. I think you have to boil the alcohol out, and I don't have the capability of doing that. But some goner told me about Carlsberg, which is a Danish brewery, and that's really good Pilsner, but they also have a non-alcoholic line that they have started. It's interesting. So I keep thinking about starting my own brewery, and it seems like having a microbrewery, you want to have a bunch of different types of beer, like an IPA, a stout, you want a Pilsner, Kolsch, something light, maybe a blonde, amber, and I don't know, some lager of some sort. But it seems like some of the biggest breweries have only one or two styles, like Budweiser, Busch, Bud Light, Coors, or Carlsberg. But I don't know. I want to figure that out. It's a lot of work. It's all good, man. No pressure. Um, I'm always curious because I felt like athletic. I didn't really like it. Honestly, I'd rather just not drink beer over drinking athletic. um, I just haven't found anything good from them. I think they had one that had a saison. I don't know if it was not saison, but like a non-alcoholic Belgian style ale, and it actually tasted okay, just because Belgian yeast has a certain flavor to it that I don't know. It was it was actually okay. Everything else is just like, ugh, ugh. If you want something non-alcoholic, just drink kombucha, you know, like Brew Doctor or Hum Kombucha. Kombucha is just, it's better for you anyways. And if you're gonna have any non-alcoholic beer, because kombucha has the same amount of alcohol as non-alcoholic beer, and it just tastes better because it's tea. It's tea and fruit, and it's just amazing. In fact, that's one thing I haven't tried at the Speakeasy Brewer. I've done cider, which that cider didn't turn out that well. It tastes really amazing, but I didn't carbonate it well enough. So I need to try that again. But I'd like to try kombucha, and Brubella has done kombucha multiple times, and she's done a great job at it. We had one that was a hibiscus one, where she got hibiscus tea from our neighbor. I guess they made it and they were growing it. Fantastic. It was one of the best kombuchas I've ever had in my life. It was so good. Let's see what else. Yeah, I need to do that. But we should also make cocktails. Sorry, I have to look back at this. 3 stars. They never had any flagships. What I had today was a juicy IPA. It was hopped so much you couldn't tell if the beer was bad or not. Okay, I think that's the only saving grace for non-alcoholic beers. You have to make an IPA, because in order for it to taste anything like beer, you have to put hops in it. Because here's the thing, this is why I don't like the non-alcoholic IPAs. And I've got this idea that I have to try at some point in time, because I think I could do it better. I think. But it feels like non-alcoholic beers just aren't good. Because you have to have grain to get the flavor and the color that you want. But if you have more grain, then you have more sugars, and if you have more sugars, you have more alcohol. So you have to do that whole fermentation process. But the fermentation process is so huge for some of the flavors that you're getting in some of the beers that, like, you don't want to miss out on it. So I was thinking to test something. I was going to brew a beer. Maybe we should do it on a small scale, or half a fermenter of beer, like do a smaller scale, and then the other half you just keg it right away and force carbonate it, and you make this. It'd be like soda. It'd be like craft soda, and then you'd be really looking for certain flavors. Again, the problem with that is you still have to boil it, you still have to get the hops in it, and you have to find the right balance of hops and grains. Because, man, I'll tell you what, when I pull this beer out and take a first sip of it after the hops have been in there for 60 minutes, it is very intense. It's like super bitter. And obviously it's still sweet, but it's super bitter. It's like a bittersweet. And so I think if I were to do that, I'd have to use less hops, so it wouldn't be as bitter, or I'd have to let it sit in a keg and condition out. But I would imagine, since it's not fermented, it would have a short lifespan. So yeah, and you're right, Rob. Yeast does add a lot of flavor, and I mean it helps condition the beer, honestly, because I don't know, letting it sit for a while is really good. And so the idea I had, I was going to call it Barley Pop, because, well, we live in Utah, and you'd have to rebrand it. You don't want to have it be non-alcoholic beer, because it has the word beer in it, and non-alcoholic beer actually has alcohol in it. It's got 0.5%, which is basically what they would have brewed back in medieval days. That's what pretty much kept them alive from foodborne or waterborne illness. But I thought about just doing a batch of beer, basically all the way through the boil, cool it down, throw it in the keg, carbonate it, and boom, you got Barley Pop. So I was going to rebrand it. And then I could sell it to dry bars. So we have dry bars in Utah so that the Mormons can go have a nightlife in places without getting trashed, which is good. I mean, I honestly am not one who supports people getting trashed. Everybody has their own thing. You know, have I had it happen before? Yeah. And it depends on the people I'm with, but I mean, I on this channel, I don't want to condone that. In fact, I want to condone the art of beer and the social aspect of it, which I think the Brits do really well, and Germans too. They do it really, really well in a healthy way of like building community, getting together, that sort of thing. But it's not like over the top. There will always be somebody who's over the top, and that's just the way it is. But I mean, it's just dependent. Okay, I'm gonna check. I know. Experiment it is. It'll be a $50 experiment, but if it works, I could probably do a smaller scale one though. I should try smaller, like do half and half. Yeah. So that's my idea. I just gotta try it. Maybe I should try it. Maybe that one of my next ones. It'll just be my envisioned barley pop, and we'll see. Because I'll tell you what, the Mormons are a freaking cash cow if you can come up with the right idea. And again, just so you guys know, I'm not against the Mormons in any way. I think everybody can believe whatever they want to believe. I think everybody's on a journey of some sort, and I think it's really important for everybody to go through the process of finding that out. So I'm not trying to bash anybody. All I know is they can't drink coffee and they can't drink beer, which is why I'd call it barley pop. I can make a coffee barley pop and put a small hint of coffee in it. Because if it's a small hint of coffee, it's not coffee. It's still considered barley pop. And this is how I become, this is my next $1 million idea. That's all I got to say about that. And then if I do, then Rob, I'm gonna send you a big thing because you're awesome. And I just want to like, my goal, if I ever came into $1 million, would be this, that I'd live off 10%, that I'd take 10%. So normally people are like, oh, I'll give 10% of whatever I earn. But I feel like if I came into $1 million, I would keep 10% and then I give 90% away for cool things. Like, not for cool things, but to like help people or to like support people's dreams or help people get out of debt or, yeah, wouldn't that be sweet? I mean, like, you do $1 million, 10% of that is a certain number. I don't do math, but wouldn't that be sweet? Like, that to me sounds so exciting. Let's turn my phone sideways. Okay, times 0.1, $100,000, totally. And then you'd have $900,000. Can you imagine what you could do with that? Like how many lives you could help out with that? That'd be sweet. That'd be so cool. Like right now, I always aim to do like 10% of whatever I make to give to charities or things like that. Man, can you imagine, like, I mean, you could live off of 10% easily if you made that. That'd be so crazy. And then you could do 90% impact. Ah, it'd be so cool. What you need is you need a team of people. This is where this channel changes. So I think about like, what can you do to make massive impact? So like, I want to do this. Like, I'm doing that with the Mexican lager and the rest of my IPA. We're just going to donate to local charities. But I mean, like, can you imagine like what sort of impact you can make? Changing the world one beer at a time. Like, I think that's what I got to do with this thing. When I create a brewery, that's one of the things I have to do. Yeah, brew good, do good. That's the other thing. I don't know, my brain's kind of all of a sudden turning on these ideas. Sorry, I'm not even looking. Yeah, I think that's good. Huh. Man, I think there's some big possibility here. You're really excited about it. If I can make something of this, you guys can say you were here when it happened, when the lights turned on, when the idea came. Because again, I think it's going back to that whole philosophical idea of like, it's one thing to work, save money to cover you during retirement, or to cover what you need to live. I think that's important. It has to happen. It's wisdom. But I think, like, what would it look like to take that excess to do good things on this planet? I think that's the higher way. You know, like, you can't take it all with you anyways. So whatever you use during retirement, it's going somewhere. It's going to your kids or relatives, or you donate it somewhere. But what if you are alive and you still put it towards something that you want to be a part of? Mm. Hmm. I think another thing I've been thinking about is, um, life is amazing, and there's a lot of people who have really sucky situations in life, and how awesome it is that when we have situations in life that aren't as sucky, that we get to come into somebody's life to give them peace in the midst of that suckiness. I have a friend right now that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head, and he's struggling hardcore, but that's it right there, is just like being there for people. Like, that's the higher way. It's interdependence, not independence. It's together, not alone. Or for Tian, zusammen nicht allein. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting all philosophical, but you guys are bringing it out of me. I guess that's the best way. You're correct, Rob. I think you're right. A lot of people do just kind of stumble through life. I think sometimes it's misguided, and I think sometimes we let other people's opinions or ideas or ideologies guide our lives. But I think deep down we all know that, like, there's emptiness when we're constantly pursuing things for ourselves, and I think there's fullness when we're constantly pursuing things, or life, or fulfillment in other people. Because it's like, I always talk to people who are always like, they're all about purpose in life, right? And I feel like now that I've got a kid on the way, I feel like there's a whole new purpose in life. Like, I'm supposed to raise this human being, and give my time and love and attention, and train him in a way that he becomes an asset to society and not a liability. But I also want him to be a servant, to have a servant's heart. I think that's one of the higher ways, is a servant. I think in order to live in the highest road, you have to live the lowest. Um, Not meaning like you have to live in poverty to be that kind of thing, but it's just like, think when you serve, that's there's more that comes from that than when you live selfishly. And I think there's seasons in our life where, yeah, if you're trying to get out of debt, or you're just trying to get back to a place where you can take care of yourself, yeah, you need to be selfish for a little bit. But I think when you start to succeed and flourish and live it more abundantly, then you can start turning your attention to, um, you know, towards others. I got a text message. Brubella. She's asking me if I'm done brewing yet. Okay, I'm gonna check. Okay, I gotta charge my computer again. Okay, so everybody is here. We got really philosophical for a short amount of time. Join in on the philosophical discussion. Oh, sweet. Hey, thank you, Rob. You're the man. You guys, I just want to say real fast, please go, just go support Rob. He's an amazing dude. He's very generous. He's a very kind guy. And he's very generous. So please go support him, because in supporting him, you're doing some good stuff right there. Like, he's awesome. So Rob, thank you for gifting that to Mocha Moo Bear. That was awesome. I love it. It's amazing. Yeah, I know, right? That's super cool. I think when Mocha Moo Bear followed my channel, that was during the raid from the last stream I did, which was technologically cursed. It's the best way I could put it. But you know what? Together, man, we got to do this other civilization game thing, because when we do, we're gonna get closer to making an impact on our community. I don't know. Maybe you already fulfilled yours. Mine, I kind of set the bar high. But for anybody who wants to support the charity, which is Volunteers of America, that'd be awesome. I set the bar really high, so no pressure. $5, $10, $20, whatever you want. There's no pressure. We're just trying to. Sorry, Rubella's texting me. We're just trying to do good while we're having fun with our hobbies. So, if this beer wasn't going to be for a wedding, this beer would be going out into the community somehow, some way. So, once I'm done with these wedding beers, that's going to be the goal. Okay, well, Rob, we got to fulfill ours. I don't. How much do you have left? I've got 45. Puts me at 345. I got $345 left. I didn't know. I just said a thing. So I thought, brewing takes a lot of time to set up. I thought about jumping onto some games here and there just to do it. And I do a beer review while I'm gaming. I don't know. I love playing video games. For those of you who are watching this, I've been really big into Helldivers 2. That's the game of choice right now. So that's probably going to be all I do, other than baby and brewing. But yeah. Anyways, after these 2 wedding beers are done, we're going to brew for impact. Man, I just got so many ideas in my head. Oh, really? Oh, well, that's okay. So, did the money, I don't know how that works. If you end yours, does the money go back to people that donated? Oh, you were so close. You were so close. That was so close. 50, 75, that's like what, 125? That was pretty close, dude. Another 125? Well, no worries. I'm not going to pressure you into doing it, because I don't know what happens. Like, I'm assuming that once the charity ends, it probably just goes right back. Kind of like Kickstarter, or not Kickstarter, but GoFundMe. If the GoFundMe account doesn't meet its goal, all the money goes back to the people who donated. I tried one time, and I got $500 or something like that, and then it expired, and it just went back to the people, which was cool. So, I mean, that could be what happened. or maybe it's just in waiting. I don't know. But oh, sweet, that's awesome. Oh, cool. Okay, that's awesome. Well, you know what? $125 went to your charity, man, that you wanted. So that's awesome. You still made an impact. Dude, isn't that crazy that we can do this and make an impact? I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. Like, I mean, it's all because of the generous donors, or the generous people who follow us, you know? Um, yeah. Dude, so awesome. So awesome. Well, maybe when it comes time for us to do the civilization again, might have to do something. But yeah, I'll give you guys updates when I get the whole brew charity thing going with the Mexican lager that I've got kegged. It's going to be happening soon. In fact, I should have an email somewhere. Got 4 more minutes before the beer is done. Should be telling me when it's coming. I don't see it. It said 10 days. Anyways, well, I'll know here shortly. I ordered them last week. Oh, dude, I love that idea. I love that idea. I'll save up. I'll save up. I'll save up for that stream. That would be fun. Yeah. We're almost done, guys. And for those of you who are still watching, we're getting so close to being done. What happens now is not the most exciting thing. It's just chilling the beer. I'll show you guys what I do, and then I'll stop the stream then, because chilling is a long process. And then I have to clean. The only downside with brewing is just cleaning. Lots and lots of cleaning. But, I mean, it has to be done. And I'm not going to do it with these grains, but normally, so I'm going to dump these grains in the compost pile. Worms love it, by the way. They're going to turn it straight into compost, which will be great for my garden. But when I don't use rice or corn, and it's just all grains, like for a stout or IPA or something along that line, I use those grains. I use those grains for bread. You can put it in bread dough. You can put it in pizza dough, or you can make dog treats with it. And dogs freaking love it. So I try to use as much as I can of the grains that I use, so it's not like a waste. So it's like being creative, thinking creatively about the resources that you use. So for me, I'm using those resources to make beer, but I can also reuse those resources that I use to make beer to make dog biscuits or compost, and kind of make it cyclical, you know, recycle, reuse, that kind of thing. So I'm using it once and then I reuse it again to make compost. And I'll tell you what, again, dogs love this because it's super sweet and it's fully nutritious and quite healthy, actually. But when it goes into compost, the worms love it too. And man, makes really, really, really good compost. Like, really good. Our compost pile, after a whole winter of brewing and dumping it into the compost, like, we made a lot of dirt. It was amazing. It was super nutrient. It was great. Oh man, I am cooking out here.
The other nice thing about video games, I could stay inside where it's cool. Oh, it's hot right now. I've got a slight hint of the swamp ass right now, and I'm so hot. I'm like melting. I should take this off. The hat. No more hat. No more. It's too hot. I should drink water too. That's what I really need to do. All right. You know what that ringer means? That ends our brew day. Off. Close. Oh my goodness. So hot. Okay. This is almost empty. One more brew day, I think. Okay. So normally what I do, and I'm just gonna explain it and not really need to show it. You know what? I just realized something. I didn't even add the Werflock tablet. I gotta start it over again. I'm gonna do another 15 minutes because I need this going. I got so into talking and philosophy. Boiling it a little bit longer is not gonna hurt it. So I always have a tendency to forget this, which is fine, but it doesn't really smell like lemon or lime or whatever it is. So Werflock tablet and lime is going in. I forgot about that. I got so into talking. So that chiller needs to be in there for 15 minutes, and the lime needs to be in there for 15 minutes, and the Werflock needs to be there in 15 minutes. Every time, you guys, every time I always forget something. But another 15 minutes isn't not gonna be too big of a deal. Amongst all the things that could happen and might happen, that's minuscule. I think the one thing about homebrewing is it's all about experimentation. This one is one, though, that I don't want to experiment much with, just because. All right, so while we're waiting for that to be done, I'm gonna explain the cooling process. So pretty soon I'm gonna add some cold water in this container, cold tap water from the hose, and we're gonna fill it full of ice. And when we fill it full of ice, it's gonna drop the temperature a lot. Once we drop the temperature, we're gonna use that cold water to run through the wort chiller, and we normally like to collect it and then dump it into the garden somewhere. The first runnings are pretty hot, so if you have a way to cool it off or let it sit until it's cool, that's a better way, and then you can just draw from that and put it on. So we use that water to either clean or water the garden. I try not to waste that much. Now, if I had a greenhouse, it would be even better because we create CO2 when we burn the propane, and we could use that CO2 for plants. So a lot of things that I'm thinking about when it comes time to be more efficient or have a system and a building that can do it. So hopefully we've been talking about moving. If we move, hopefully we'll have a space that we can do that. So it's all about being efficient. Okay, I'm gonna move this, get this out of the way. Also, it takes me a little bit longer to clean. I could be cleaning during the brewing process, but I'm chatting with you all, and that's, to me, that's important. And sometimes what helps is when you have a beer or two, makes the cleaning process not suck as much, but needs to be done. And really, all it is, I mean, the most, I don't know, for me, the painstaking part is chilling the beer. I don't know why it is, but it's just the way it is. Because it just takes a long time. Cleaning, easy. Dump the grains, spray it off, get all the grains out. Maybe run over it a couple times with a sponge. This, spray it off, sponge, make sure it's clean, done. I do need to get a fermenter though, so I'm getting near the end, y'all. So anyways, that's what I'm gonna do. Cold tap water with ice. We're going to connect this side of the wort chiller to the cold water. It's gonna run through. I'm probably gonna move it into a kiddie pool, let it chill, use it for watering plants. That way I don't waste it, or use it for cleaning. Both would be good. Which in that case, I should find a container for cleaning, which is this one. I'll capture some of the runnings with this pot, and then we'll use this for the clean water to clean off some of my stuff, and then the rest of it will be used for watering plants. So challenge you, if you end up brewing beer, to use your resources wisely, use your time wisely. Obviously, streaming is not a way of using time wisely, but it does help build friendships. So anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna end it here just because the rest of it's not gonna be super crazy. So I also have to move beer and do that kind of thing. So anyways, you all have been awesome. Rob with 2Bs, Tion, Kuno. Thank you guys so much for jumping on, saying hi, hanging out for a little bit. Asking for a friend, thanks for the chat and saying hi. Hope you have a good time with family in Alaska. And anybody else who jumped on during the time, if you're still here, thanks so much for jumping on to the Speakeasy Brewer. We're going to be changing the world one beer at a time. And sorry for that slight philosophical tangent. Anyways, you all are amazing. Hope to see you guys sooner rather than later, but I think the next time you see me, I will have a baby, which will be crazy. And I might be super tired, but we'll see. Anyways, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just remember, stay thirsty, speak easy. We'll see you later. Oh, and be adventurous too. Be adventurous, stay thirsty, speak easy. We'll see you on the flip side. Maybe we'll be killing some bugs or automatons or something like that, or playing some Civilization, but we'll see. Thank you all for joining me.